drives that one the opposite way. Doesn't have enough carry. Walker at the wall. It is gone! Another one for Pete Alonso. It's 7-0 Baltimore. Encarnacion Strand to the alley. That's down for a base hit to take back the lead. Encarnacion Strand with a 4-hit night. And the Orioles have an 8-7 lead. Most pitches of any outing this season will pop up underneath it. Holiday is there to finish the ball game. And the Orioles hold on for an 8-7 victory in St. Louis.
Yeah, that was a rough start, and the sinker, that's his best pitch. That's what he leans on. That's what gives him success. That pitch was not there for him. The changeup, very little bite on that. I think 1 out of 10 on that pitch with all these lefties in the lineup. So they did a nice job. They had a good approach, and they took some very good swings off of him early. He had to fight through the rest of that game to get us as deep as possible, which he did.
Audio courtesy of, unfortunately, the Orioles TV network. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Cardinals lose last night by a final score of 8-7. They only lose 2 ways lately. 1, a nail biter that ultimately breaks your heart. 2, an absolute pummeling by the opposition in which they lose by 9+ runs. There's no in between right now.
In both of those scenarios, you turn the game off in like the 2nd or 3rd inning, and then you get surprised when you turn it back on and they come back into the game.
Yesterday, that was the case. Yeah. Where it felt as though you weren't going to have to watch it. Like, you could just go watch something else, and then you turn it back on. I did this. I went upstairs. We were downstairs with Luca. We were watching the game. And they go down 7-0. I'm like, all right, well, I can go upstairs, start cooking dinner.
You told Luca, like, look, buddy, these happen sometimes. Yeah. The losses are ugly, and you just don't watch anymore.
Don't hang your head. It'll be all right, buddy. This happens sometimes.
It'll be better next year.
And then later on in the day, as I'm cooking dinner, I look back over at the screen. It's like, holy bleep. It's tied at 7. And then they find a way to lose it in the 9th inning. Unfortunately, Riley O'Brien once again comes unglued, and, you've got the loss, and it's 8-7.
You know why those 2 scenarios are the only scenarios that happen for the Cardinals?
Why is that, Alex?
Because their pitching is broken. Like, when there's only 2 outcomes for your baseball team, 1, you get the shellacking early on, and there's no coming back. And 2, the heartbreaking losses, which I don't know if they should be considered heartbreaking losses because your bullpen shouldn't inspire you very much lately. It's because you have no pitching. Because tight games where your offense pulls you back in and you're down by 7 runs and you get right back to it and you think you can win, the bullpen can't hold on to it for you. Or your pitching does like what happened to Michael McGreevy yesterday, where that poor man, 1 2/3, looked like he was done for the day. God bless him to pull himself back through, but your pitching's just in no spot to compete in any of those scenarios.
It's not, and yesterday was a bad one once again for Michael McGreevy, and I can go in multiple different directions with this. Now, none of these games are going to make me overly frustrated anymore. It is what it is. I think we all kind of can acknowledge where this season is at. It feels once again like it did right before the trade deadline, where, hey, man, we can all see where this is headed.
Godspeed.
And yesterday, if you're somebody that's still a believer in the team, this would be my read in what yesterday was. That sucks. That was the absolute worst case scenario for you. If, again, we're operating under the premise of you're a believer, you think they're going to get into the playoffs, they're still in this race, they should operate accordingly. Your pitcher had a terrible start to the game, then kind of figures it out a little bit, stabilizes, but because your offense comes back, you have to pull him after 5, which sets you up to not have any of your leverage relievers today necessarily, or tomorrow, depending on how today goes, and you still find a way to lose. That's worst case scenario. If you're somebody that came into the day yesterday saying, whatever, the season is what it is, let's just watch to see kind of how the young guys are able to go, man, that was kind of best case scenario. Because you go down early, you see the fight out of your young club, they go down 7-0 and find a way to come back and tie the thing. That should not happen. That is, like, honestly indescribable in terms of the toughness mentally that you're able to show. They continue to fight. They continue to come back. McGreevy gets through 5, which, again, from him shows a good amount of fight. That's the kind of thing that we would have praised Waino for back in the day is, hey, you didn't have it, but you gave your team a chance by the time you left the game.
And some really strong pitch efficiency, too, for how many he threw in the first 2 innings.
And then the next 3 guys come in, Gastelum, Stanek, and Soriano. They get their jobs done. And you still find a way to lose, which, again, if you're somebody that's like, hey, the season's kind of lost,
it's me.
You're looking for a good draft pick now? Well, we're moving on up in those draft standings. So it really was influenced by how you went into yesterday's game on how you probably left that game. If you're somebody that still believes they're in it, that was worst case scenario. If you're somebody that believes they're out of it, kind of a best case scenario game. It's a weird place to be as a team.
Do you think Ollie was sitting there happy that it ended in 9, though?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because if that sucker went into extras.
I think at first, if we're being honest, he was happy it was over by 2.
Yeah, well, but if that sucker went into 10 or 11 innings and you knew that you got a bullpen game later today, you're in a rough spot. But I mean, like, look, I was more impressed by, one, the offense's ability to pull themselves back into it, because you're right, BK, like the individuals that performed in that game, those are the guys you want to see the fight in, regardless if you're out of the playoff hunt or you're still in it, down by 7, pull yourself back into it. So you appreciate that. And frankly, it was impressive. Look, McGreevy is going through it right now. The guy is not performing the way he was in the first half of the season. I give him all the props for you to be able to pull out 5 innings for that team, because he probably knew what the task in front of him was. You got to get us 5 or 6. And for how many pitches he threw in the first 2, for that game being out of reach, to calm yourself down and pull yourself back into it, that's where it's at. But again, that's just where this team's at. And I do fall into that camp to where it's like, I'm not watching it in the playoff hunt anymore. Now I'm just watching it to see how individuals perform. Man, it doesn't surprise me that you pull into that spot. I think I said yesterday it was going to be an 8-4 loss because it's going to get away from them. The bullpen, when you get to it, regardless if you're going to your big guns or you're not, it just doesn't breathe any confidence right now to where I feel like, yeah, they'll hold on to this and get this one done.
A few people on the text line saying, BK, why are you preparing dinner at 7:30 or 8 o'clock?
Seriously, dude, dinner's on the table at 5 in my house.
I know, that's kind of normal
that's
for
when
me.
We eat.
Yeah.
Dude,
that's when we eat.
That's
I mean, lunch is at like
crazy.
2:33.
Yeah, exactly. We eat late. Luca has a snack whenever he gets home from school, and that holds him over until dinner time. We eat around 7:30, 8 o'clock.
He doesn't scream at like 5 o'clock, I'm hungry.
We had a snack.
Yeah.
My kids do too, and they still look at me and go, Daddy, I'm hungry.
Yeah, he typically, like, when we're eating dinner, you
Doesn't
know how
eat?
this is with kids, Alex?
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Oh, well, yeah, no, my kids are just screaming that they're hungry.
If I try to put dinner down earlier, he just won't eat it. So there's no reason to even try at
mine
this point. So
still
everybody's
don't.
got their own schedule. Go based upon your schedule. I'll go based upon mine. All right?
What was for dinner last night?
What did we do last night? We did... God, why am I forgetting what we did? There's a lot going on at our house.
That good.
No, it wasn't that
we did black bean burgers last night.
Okay.
Those poops are going to be rough today, dog.
I like black bean burgers.
Oh,
We did
I
black
wasn't
bean
talking
burgers,
about your
sweet
poops. I was
potato
talking about
fries,
Luca's poops.
And strawberries.
Oh.
Fries and strawberries? Is that what you said?
I mean, yes, we had
Well, yeah,
three
you
different
do
things
fries.
on
Do you
the-
do
No,
sweet,
I like
you
the
said
fries.
sweet
I don't
potato
know
fries?
about
potato fries,
Sweet
and we had
potato fries
strawberries
are
as
cool.
another
Oh,
side.
sweet potato.
Oh, yeah, those are the goats. Do you do
No,
sugar or
that's
salt
nasty.
on them?
Salt.
Okay, good. You're not a psychopath. There's people out there like, we sprinkle cinnamon sugar on ours. I'm like, you
That's my
need to go
family.
to an
Yeah,
insane
you could
asylum.
go either direction,
Nah.
but I
I
like
put
the salt on them.
marshmallows on my sweet potato fries.
Cardinals lose 8-7 last night. Alex, we mentioned this during the pre-show meeting. You look at what they got pitching-wise last night. McGreevy, not good. Other relievers, pretty solid. But then you get to Riley O'Brien, and this is, it's been a rough go for him lately after having a pretty damn good season for the most part. But his last 2 outings, he's given up 7 hits and 7 earned runs. Does not have a strikeout in his last 3 appearances. Do the Cardinals have their future closer currently on the roster?
It's not Riley O'Brien, if that's what you're asking. I don't know if it's somebody else. Like, I really like Gastelum's stuff, and I know you guys were talking about him. I mean, I said that about Swanson last year, to where I was like, oh, well, here's your next closer, and look at how that turned out. I mean, T-Bone talks about it all the time. Bullpen relievers are a fickle spot. I can't look at anybody and be like a certainty of, yeah, that's my closer for next year, because I could see it falling off just like this did for Riley O'Brien. Like, it's a lot of work to be a closer. We've heard plenty of guys talk about this, the mental side of it, the longevity of 162 games. I don't believe it's Riley O'Brien. I think Riley O'Brien is a perfect high leverage arm. I don't think he's a guy that you wanted as a closer every single game. I just don't know if I could confidently sit here and say, like, yeah, he's probably on this roster, because I could see Gastelum breaking down next year. I could see multiple guys becoming that by next season. Soriano, Stanek. Like, I just think you're going to get a closer for a year and then move on to the next one.
I don't know if your 2028, 2029 closer is on the roster. I'm pretty sure your 2027 closer is on the roster, assuming that we play 162, and I think it's Luis Gastelum. I think he's the best reliever on the team right now. He had a really rough first month in the big leagues, and I think we've seen this is the value in coming up and getting this opportunity over the course of the final 2-3 months of the season, is you get to learn about yourself, see how the major leagues adapts to what it is that you have to throw. And Luis Gastelum, over his last 8 appearances, has gone 9 1/3, given up 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and has 18 strikeouts. His fielding independent pitching, you don't see this very often, is -0.5.
Here's the list.
-0.5 in his last 8 appearances for his fielding independent pitching. I'm not sure entirely how that works. I'm no mathematician, but it seems hard to allow negative runs over the course of a baseball game.
We're going to run back.
But he's been that good over his last 8 appearances. I think that's your future closer, at least in the immediacy.
First question that I'd have when you're doing that, and I don't know if you can look this up, what part of the order is he going up against?
What do you mean?
Like, is he going up against the bottom of the order? Is he going up against the top of the order when you primarily see him? Because you typically...
I mean, he's been a leverage guy, so he's going up against some of the better
high leverage guys. Yeah. Okay.
This is not... He's not somebody that comes in a 12-2 game.
Look, I there's no doubt he's got the swing and miss stuff, but we've talked about how he's got one pitch that's the lethal one, and everything else typically can harm him. I said this with Swanson last year. I confidently was like, dude, Matt Swanson is going to be... I believed T-Bone in his T-Bone 3 last season that Swanson was going to be one of the best relievers, because that guy was awesome last season. And you know what happened? Went down real quick.
That also wasn't hard to foresee. I told
T-Bone
miss stuff.
Look, I even said
that wasn't the case. He did not get swing and miss, and that's the difference between he and Luis Gastelum. Swanson last year was a super weird profile in that he got strikeouts without swing and miss and without chase.
Yeah.
It was just dotting it up. He had really great command, and people didn't seem comfortable in the box against him, and therefore it wasn't swinging strikes, it was strikes looking.
It's still strikes.
That is a very hard thing to sustain over time. Eventually, as they get more looks at you and they see your stuff more often, we see that adjust. And with Luis Gastelum, it's very different. Gastelum is a guy that can get the swing and miss. Guys are not comfortable in the box against him. They take super funky swings. His whiff rate is 37%, which is among the best in Major League Baseball. Chase rate, 34%, among the best in Major League Baseball. This is a profile that you can win with. He also does not have a walk problem. So I will buy into this far more than I did with Matt Swanson a year ago.
Yeah, I said at the time with Swanson, when looking at his profile, it didn't really make much sense to me, but I was willing to say some crazy stuff about it. And as BK said, it was more of the pinpoint accuracy. It was a lot of those kind of backdoor sinkers that would catch the back part of the zone, and he didn't have that this year. I see it a little bit more with Gastelum in terms of wanting to buy into the upside. I just don't know that he's a future closer. I think he's more of a setup reliever than anything else, because when I think closer, I think big dynamic stuff. Like, I think of Ryan Helsley when he was here and he was setting the saves record as a closer, and you're talking 100-mile-an-hour fastball with a slider that just dips off the table.
Not all of them have that, though. I mean, Luke Weaver got the Yankees to the World Series, and he didn't have
Weaver
that
has
kind of stuff.
fairly big fastball, if I'm not mistaken.
He's also still not
I think
with
he's
the
like
Yankees.
98, 99, if I'm not mistaken, on Weaver. Like, until I see more out of Gastelum's fastball and how it plays up here, which is the thing that I still want to see, because, yes, he is on a really good tear over his last 8 games.
Weaver throws 95.
Okay, so he's the one exception kind of to the rule of
pretty
closers.
big one. He went to the World Series.
And then the Yankees said, no, we don't need you anymore.
I still wouldn't bet on...
LCS, rather.
I like Gastelum, but I want to see what his fastball will play in a bigger sample size. Yeah. 8 games, that's a great 8-game stretch. We talked about a 3-game stretch with Matthew Liberatore and really bet on it. So I just want to see more from him. I do agree with you, though. If there is someone in the organization for 2027 to be the closer, my bet would be Gastelum. Do I think you have your closer for the next time you're winning, which is they keep kind of putting the time frame at 2028? I would lean more towards no, that you still need someone with more dynamic stuff.
I think that's fair. I just don't know who that guy is in your system. Like, maybe it's Liam Doyle. You know, I think that would be disappointing. But if Liam Doyle doesn't work out as a starting pitcher and you have a bunch of other guys that maybe it's Tanner Franklin. It could be either of those guys. But right now, what you have, I think so many of the pitchers that could potentially profile as that, they have to fail first as starters before you would put him into that role. Luke Weaver became a closer because he failed as a starter. That's what most of these guys are. So I don't think your 2027 closer yet has done that. I don't think they've been given the opportunity to fail yet as a starter at the major league level. So for now, I would lean toward Gastelum getting that opportunity. And then as we get further along, I think that guy maybe is further along in your system. I'm not willing to say that just yet because I don't know who it could be. And I don't know which one of those guys is going to fail as a starter and then eventually have all of that success as a reliever. Alongside T-Bone and Alex on BK, you've got BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. It's 11:17. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. T-Bone, you good?
Yeah.
For anybody that's not watching the show and they're listening, T-Bone showed up about 5 minutes late today.
Yeah, look, we should have a sponsor for our bathroom breaks. You know, I'm looking at like maybe dude wipes or something.
Dude, you ran out of here fast, so I would understand that.
Alex looked over. He's like, hey, man, T-Bone will be back.
Yeah, I walked in. I was like, I'm on the board.
Went out as I was coming in. He said, hey, we'll be back in a minute. I was like, all right.
And then he really was
you seem
confused
to be
because
going the wrong
yeah, he had
direction.
headphones in his hand. He's like, well, I think I've got your headphones. I'm like, no, those ain't mine, dog.
But I gotta go.
I'll see you in 5.
Been there before, my
All
man.
right, in 15 minutes, we'll get into NFL quick hitters. But next, a bullpen game today seems to suggest a major overhaul is coming for the roster, and there's already one pitcher that's been added. We'll tell you about it next here on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Bullpen game today sure seems to indicate we're going to see a massive overhaul of the roster sooner rather than later. And Alex, we did get a little small sliver of that earlier this morning here on 101 ESPN. If you were listening to the morning after, Martin Kilcoyne announced a little before the Cardinals did that the Cardinals are calling up Cade Winquist, and Peter Strzelecki is going to go on the injured list. Now, that's retroactive to yesterday. He's got a right forearm extension inflammation, so he's going to be on the IL for a little while. Cade Winquist making his debut, it sounds like, later on this afternoon. This is a fun one, Alex. I think this guy has a real chance to be able to stick with the Cardinals. He's got a big fastball. He was somebody that was interesting enough in terms of his profile that the Yankees selected him last year in the Rule 5 draft. He was on the roster with them for like 2 weeks, never appeared in a game with them. I think he was dealing with some kind of like a soreness injury issue, and they couldn't continue to hold him onto the roster long term. So Winquist was returned back to the Cardinals, has had a good season this year down at AAA, striking out a bunch of different batters, 13 strikeouts per 9 innings this year.
Is it swinging strikes or just looking strikes?
He's got swing and miss.
Because I learned in the last segment
ERA is up a little bit at 4.5, but the underlying numbers all suggest, hey, it's pretty good here. He does not have a huge walk issue either. I think he's somebody that could factor into the late innings sooner rather than later. Let's start with him, and then we'll kind of get to the big picture here momentarily. Alex, are you excited to see a relief prospect, I guess if you want to call it that can potentially factor into the future of the Cardinals bullpen?
No, not excited, but again, like I think the magic word for me moving forward, unless it's Leo Bernal, is intrigued. Because, frankly, we've seen the musical chairs that is the bullpen this season, and a lot of them haven't worked. Like, we've gone through the Zimmermans, you've gone through the, why can't I even remember the guy's name that they DFA?
Schuster?
Yeah, Schuster. I keep wanting to say Brule, but it's Schuster. Like, we've seen these guys, and there's not much there. So if you're giving me somebody who has, 12 strikeouts per 9 in AAA this season, if you're giving me somebody that is in the system that has some type of pitch that could cling. I can't think of the right word
again.
No, yeah, take two. Could latch on to the MLB roster and stay that way. Then yeah, I'm intrigued by it. Excited? I don't think I'm really excited for anything when it comes to bullpen moves.
Yeah, that's kind of me. I'm more intrigued by. I wouldn't use excited as the adjective because his numbers do show that he's got some big strikeout stuff down there at the AAA level. But we'll just see how it translates. That's the tough part. It's tough to figure out how these guys are going to translate to the majors. It's a different position, but look at the struggle Crooks has had since transitioning from AAA to the majors, and for bullpen arms, I'm with Alex. It's such a fickle business that it's hard to get excited for those guys because there's very few that actually latch on and stay. The hope is that he pitches well and becomes a guy that can kind of ride the Memphis shuttle for you next year. It's smart to try and see what you have in him, but I am intrigued by him. I'll be curious to see how they use him today. If they use him today, I would assume he's used today.
Yeah, he's got
and I'll be interested to see how his stuff plays up against a lineup that hasn't performed well all season long, but is on a bit of a tear right now here in St. Louis.
I'm kind of excited by it. And you look at his profile down at the AAA level, his strikeout rate's 98th percentile among AAA relievers. And I agree with you guys. It's kind of hard to say exactly how this will translate. I will add this, though. I think it's easier to see with pitchers than it is with hitters. And the reason why is because there's just so much that we have information-wise with pitchers, and they aren't the ones that are reacting. Hitters react to what is done by the pitchers. Pitchers are the ones that are able to kind of take the battle to the hitters, if you will. And so we have so much modeling now in Major League Baseball. They will tell you, like, they knew right away, Luis Gastelum is going to be a guy that factors into our high leverage innings. Now, I don't think they believed at the time that he would be tipping his pitches and would get absolutely crushed the first month that he was up here. But since then, I think they have said publicly, hey, we fixed the tipping issue, and now we're seeing more of the results that we expected to see with him. I think the same could be true for a guy like Cade Winquist. Now, if that happens, I do think it's fair to wonder why he didn't get the call up a little bit earlier. He's been doing this since like mid-June. There's now 2 months of him having success down at the AAA level with a 3.2 ERA over that span, and he's been striking guys out left and right. And it's not as though the Cardinals bullpen has been dominant over that stretch of time. And so if there is a criticism of this new regime, for me, it would be this. They have been a little slow to the trigger with overhauling the bullpen. And to me, that is the easiest thing to overhaul. The thing that you should be making the most moves with over the course of the season. It's not the end of the world. It's not something that I would levy like this huge critique of them about. But it is something that I think we're starting to see based upon what has happened this year at least. It's worth monitoring for future seasons to see if this continues to go the way that it did in 2026. Because so far this year, I think they've been a little slow to adjust in that specific area.
Yeah, I agree, but I also look at it and say, I wonder if they were just in a spot where they knew this season they were going to have to be slow. To where it's just like even with a guy like Winquist, you ask the question, why did it take so long? If he was dealing with that injury early on, maybe it was ramping up and just saying, like, let's see what it looks
August,
like.
Though.
I understand, but he's only thrown 39 innings. I mean, I have to imagine if the guy's injured and he was within another organization, you get him back with your team, figure out where he's at, build him up.
Sure, but in July? Early August?
I think this is kind of, based on everything that we heard / saw from Heim in Boston, this is kind of how he operated in Boston. Is very, whether you want to call it slow or meticulous in terms of when to call up prospects or guys like him that are going to make it up to the major leagues. He takes his time, and he wants to make sure that they're ready when they're here so that they stay when they get here. And he's kind of used that as the buzzword a lot when you talk with him, or even Rob Cerfolio, who's a part of the brass up there. I'm not all surprised that they've decided to keep him down there for this long, because this has kind of been their MO this season, and I kind of expect that moving forward. I think that's fair to critique, especially for bullpen arms. I've said this a lot. You want to take time on developing starters. I get that, right?
Absolutely.
That takes time. That takes a lot of seasoning. You want to develop hitters. That takes time and that takes seasoning. Well, let's quit talking about developing bullpen arms, because as we've seen across time and with all 30 teams, look at how these teams just scrap these bullpens together, right?
And look at some of the arms that they've been going through.
Exactly.
It's not as though they have the best of the best and the brightest. Like, Cade Winquist couldn't have helped you in that doubleheader last week. He couldn't have helped you in that doubleheader against the Milwaukee Brewers when they were calling up all these other dudes that came up and did nothing for you. I think it's fair. Again, I'm not saying it's the end of the world. I don't think it is.
Or maybe read their actions and say they didn't think he was good at that time. I mean, we were talking about that with Bryson Motts.
And maybe they were wrong.
I mean, we were talking about it with Bryson Motts. Why Bryson Motts hasn't been up? Maybe they're telling you he's not good.
At least with Motts, I can understand it more, because I can even look at the numbers with Motts and say, look, I would have done it. I said it at the time. That would have been the move that I would have made. I think they have been proven correct based upon his AAA numbers, that the walk rate issues there, that those were real. And he's had a lot of struggles recently since those dates that I would have said, hey, you could have called him up here, to where they have now transitioned him into a full-time bullpen capacity. And in his last 11 outings, he's given up an OPS of 1,000 against. Opposing hitters are batting .295 against him. He's got a 10 ERA. All right, yeah, it's kind of hard for me to criticize that one. And that's, yes, playing the results, but it's also something that they projected. I would say on the Winquist side of things, it's been the opposite. And he's not alone. Hansel Rincon, I wonder if we see him tomorrow. I think there's a decent chance that we see him called up before the end of the day tomorrow, before they start that game against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And if they do, he's another guy. This is not new. He's been having success the entirety of the season down there at AAA. He's got a pretty good strikeout rate. He's a right-handed reliever. He could have helped them as well. And the thing you could have done is you could have had this constant cycle of arms where you don't have to do all of them at once, but it could have been every fifth day you get a new arm cycled through, and it's not just the constant Ryan Fernandez, Matt Swanson, Gordon Graceffo. You could go with other guys beyond those three right-handed relievers on this cycle, and you could have included Hansel Rincon. You've had 2 open spots on the 40-man for 2 weeks now. You could have included Hansel Rincon, and you could have included Cade Winquist. They chose not to do so. I think it's at least fair to, maybe it's not a critique so much as a question as to why they were so slow to make these moves with the bullpen.
Yeah, and I think there are 2 retorts to it. Before the trades, when they opened up the 2 spots, it'd be the 2 biggest buzzwords for me. It would be, before that, they would say 40-man roster, and I could have pointed to a lot of dead weight to cut off of it.
And ultimately, they did make that with Tink Hence.
Exactly. And then, they've learned that Prieto, there's not much there. I mean, he could have been a casualty on the 40-man roster as well. And then the other word that they would use, and you mentioned it, it was modeling. I think they would probably point to the modeling of his pitches and say that it wouldn't play here. And I think to what you're saying.
But if they view that way, then why is it now that he's up?
Because they've got an injury and they don't want to go to Swanson. I do think modeling would have been the answer they would have given you the last couple weeks. Otherwise, like, you're right. Why would he not be up prior to that? And I think it would be modeling would be their answer. The modeling
and I would
says,
say modeling is something that the Yankees use, and they used it to the point where they drafted him in the Rule 5 for a reason. This is not a guy that came out of nowhere. This isn't some, like, nothing burger prospect who just suddenly emerged at the AAA level, and it's like, oh, wow, the numbers are pretty good here. No, he was good enough last year at AA that the Yankees were like, this guy can skip AAA and come straight to our major league roster, and we think he's going to help us, and we are trying to win now. So, like, I don't know. That's tough for me to really. I hear. I'm not disagreeing with you, T-Bone. You're the messenger here. I'm just saying, like, this would be my response to that. I think that's. I'm not sure that ends up actually standing up to scrutiny.
I would agree with that.
I think we're upset about them not making moves, and I get it because it was probably the most important time of the season, and you were just going through guys that you already knew what they were. I unfortunately think that's why I'm not even really excited. I'm intrigued. I think these are a lot of what you have. And yeah, they could have cycled through him back in June. We'd probably not even be talking about this guy at this point if they did. Maybe he doesn't match. And they said, well, he's not good enough yet.
Or maybe he would have. And it would have won them a couple extra games because there were multiple games.
Playoffs.
For real. There were multiple games that they've lost recently where if they had one extra reliever that could go into high leverage spots, they would have potentially won those games. And they have lost those games. They are 50-50 propositions that flip because they lost those games. And I think that it is at least a fair thing to bring up that it is something they've been slow on. And I will be very curious to see. Now, if you're looking at the bright side, the silver lining of this, they've made the move, right? Like, now he's here. And so we get to evaluate what he's going to be for them, not just for the rest of the season, but hopefully beyond. And my fingers are crossed that this guy becomes, a mainstay in the bullpen. I think you might really have something here where Winquest could be a 6th or 7th inning guy that kind of mixes and matches there. And if so, that's a valuable piece for 2027. This team needs pieces like that for the future because, boy, have they been thin when it comes to their bullpen options in 2026. In 15 minutes, we'll get into questions and answers. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show. You can check us out on YouTube, as always. Get your questions in there at youtube.com/101ESPN STL. But coming up next, time for some NFL quick hitters here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with the Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Cardinals fell to the Orioles last night 8-7. They try and avoid the sweep today as 1:15 will be first pitch. It will be a bullpen game for the Cardinals. Gordon Graceffo will get the start for them. Trevor Rogers will be on the mound for Baltimore. The Sports Center update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, Daikin Heating and Air Conditioning dealer.
All right, let's dive into some NFL quick hitters on 101 ESPN with Alex and T-Bone. I'm BK. Have you guys seen the list?
I have not.
The 2026 NFL season ranking the 32 teams' watchability.
Oh, watchability. Key word there.
That's right.
Here's the list.
Ben Solak over at ESPN.com put together this list. I think Ben does a fantastic job. He said there are 4 key things that he was looking for when he was highlighting the most watchable teams. They are as follows. Number 1, big plays. I don't just want points. I want them fast.
Yeah.
I can respect that. Number 2, competitive games. Said some teams inherently play closer games than others. They lack the offensive star power or they have terrible defense. So close games, part of this as well. Number 3, star players. It's rare to tune into a bad team for one good player, but it is possible. Most of us cared about Myles Garrett's sack race last year, for example, despite the Browns being an atrocity. So star players, part of this as well. And number 4, nothing offensive. Teams with a bad offense, they can be watchable, but nothing that's truly dreadful is going to make this list.
I thought it meant like individuals that are offensive, and I was like, okay, well, the Rams are off this list then.
So those are the things.
Puka.
Big plays, competitive games, stars, and nothing offensive. So nothing just like truly dreadful to watch.
Okay.
Who do you guys think, based upon that context, that criteria, is the number 1 most watchable team in the NFL heading into 2026?
So I have a couple of thoughts. One would be the Bengals.
They do rate pretty well on this list. They're at number 7.
Bad defense, big powered offense that's just going to heave the football downfield.
7 feels about right.
Patriots were another one that came to mind.
Patriots are number 5.
Okay. Big offense once again.
Patriots don't do much for me, if I'm being honest.
Well, but with A.J. Brown now, I wonder if you're going to get more plays downfield.
Me personally, they just don't do much for me.
Bills?
I think they're a little lower on this list, actually.
I wasn't sure if they'd rate them high or not.
No. Wow, they're really low. They're 16.
That's too
They don't make plays fast, though. Like, they take their damn time.
But Allen's just a freaking alien.
The strange thing, now Josh Allen is the exception to this rule. They don't really have a lot of star power.
I guess James Cook would be my next closest one, but I don't know how that compares to. And it's a running back. It's a running back, and that's why their plays aren't fast.
And if you're just talking, I'm not talking best, but star power wise, I'm not even sure he's a top 5 star at the running back position now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Do they have the Bears here?
They're number 1.
Yeah.
The Chicago Bears have number 1.
I would not have them there, but I figured they would with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson.
I mean, they are an extremely exciting team heading into this season. They are now what the Lions were a few years ago, where it kind of comes out of nowhere, but they've got an even more explosive offense with their quarterback.
I guess I'm just questioning their wide receivers still. I just don't know what Rome Odunze and Luther Burden are going to be.
I think they have the potential to be very good, and I just trust Ben Johnson at this point. I don't know if that's fair, but it's kind of the way I view it. The way that I trust Kyle Shanahan, I trust Sean McVay. Honestly, Liam Cohen's kind of in this category down in Tampa Bay. I just think Ben Johnson's going to put together an awesome offense. And I think Colston Loveland, I know we talked about him a little bit yesterday when it came to the tight end position in fantasy football. I got the sense I'm just higher on Colston Loveland than you guys are. I think he's a top 5 tight end in football already. And that's after one season watching him in this Bears offense. You add him in with Luther, with Rome Odunze. I think they're going to be a pretty damn good offense. I think they've got a chance to be really fun. I would not have them at number 1, but I get them being in the top 3 to 5.
I'd have the Bengals above them. I think I'd put the Cowboys above them, too.
I'd put the Rams ahead of them.
I'd put the Rams ahead of them.
Rams are number 2 on this list.
Where are the Texans
Rams
at?
for me would be number 1.
Where are the Texans?
I can't not watch them. I have to watch them every time they're on the field.
Especially if Aaron Donald comes back.
I've got on offense Matt Stafford throwing to Puka
and Devontae
Adams. And on defense, I've got an opportunity to watch arguably the greatest defensive player of this generation. Like, he's going to go down as a top 5 defensive end of all time, most likely, in Myles Garrett. And he's just been plopped into this defense. And I didn't mention the fact that they've got Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson at their biggest question from last year defensively, which was cornerback. They've put in 2 guys that are, borderline or actually all-star Pro Bowl caliber players. That team's talent-wise as good as we've seen in the NFL since the Chiefs were at their best.
Yeah. And that's bigger star power than the Bears.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Like with the Bears, it's Caleb Williams, and is that the end of the list for the star power? Because I like Colston, Loveland. I like their weapons.
Probably.
But I don't know if any of those guys have kind of established themselves as like top-tier players. Stafford and Puka and Myles Garrett have absolutely done that.
That's why I like the Lions are in they were in a better spot than where the Bears are right now. Like you said, they're the new Lions. Like the Lions had Amon-Ra St. Brown, to where people knew who that was at the time. Gibbs was still kind of an unknown commodity, but he showcased that star potential.
See, I think Gibbs at the time where Luther is going to be this year. I think Luther can immediately jump into that role.
And maybe I'm just not remembering
Obviously
it as
different
well.
positions, but just how they're
I just feel like Luther didn't have those big plays last year.
I think we remember it differently.
Maybe I'm misremembering it.
He also was kind of buried at the beginning of the year. He was kind of the 3rd or 4th option. This year, he's immediately going to be 1 or 2 for that
he's
offense.
number 2, no question. But yeah, I would have those above him.
Where were the Cowboys? Because I find them to be kind of fun.
So we've gone through the top 3 now. Number 1, Chicago. Number 2, the Rams. Number 3, Detroit. Number 4 is actually the one that we have not mentioned, and that's the Chargers. That one I don't agree with.
No.
I would not have them at 4.
I'd have the Texans above
5
them.
Patriots, as we've mentioned, and 6 is the Dallas Cowboys.
That makes sense.
I would have Dallas a little higher. Like if you wanted to put Dallas at 3, I think I could probably see that. I've mentioned this, so I'm really high on Dallas going into the season. 7 is Cincinnati. 8 is Seattle. That's not a team that I would have that high.
Yeah, no.
9, how about this? A man after my heart.
Don't say the
Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, okay.
I think Minnesota's going to be they fun to watch this year,
they got star power. It's just not at the quarterback.
He's a big name, though, which kind of helps. He's not
Kyler's fun to watch. Now, you have no idea what's going to happen when he has the football. Kind of reminds me, remember when Carson Wentz was still good? Like, theoretically good, at least. He was on good teams. On any play, anything could happen. He could throw a 50-yard touchdown. He could throw, like, the craziest interception that you've ever seen. He could fumble the ball and just drop it. He could run around for 7 seconds behind the... That's kind of Kyler Murray. I have no idea what's going to happen this year with him behind that offensive line in Minnesota. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. So I would have them at number 9 as well. I like them being up that high.
Fun wouldn't be the word I'd use. It's more like interesting.
Yeah, that's a good...
Touche.
Yeah.
I don't think fun's going to... If you got him on a fantasy team or anybody there, and if this dude's throwing picks and getting sacked, that's not fun.
I got a feeling while he's doing that, Marsh, our Vikings fan, is going to be going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
It's always fun.
It's definitely more fun when I'm watching it as a non-Vikings fan.
It's always fun when he scrambles, unless he doesn't get the ball out and he's eating turf afterwards.
Can you guys guess the bottom 5 teams?
Cleveland's got to be up
Jets. Cleveland's 32.
Oh, Jets for sure.
Dolphins.
Jets are actually a little higher, 25. Dolphins are indeed 31.
Titans.
30.
Atlanta.
28. They're missing 29.
Saints.
Oh, no. Saints are 24,
Arizona.
buddy.
Well, no, Arizona's got some star power.
Arizona, yep. Yeah, Arizona is at 29.
That's trash.
So you got the bottom 5 now.
I would have the Saints lower than the Cardinals.
I think I would, too.
The Raiders are 27, by the way. I think that's low.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they got at least
Pittsburgh
some star
should be
power.
below them.
Absolutely. I would hear...
who's
Jets
the star
should be
on
below
Pittsburgh?
them. A DK.
Is he still a star?
Yeah.
Yeah, but watching Rodgers deducts 5 points.
I agree.
It's like, oh, Grandpa, get off the field before you get killed out
Where
there.
do you think the Chiefs are?
I'll say 18.
I was going to go about middle of the pack. I'll say 16.
22.
Yeah, that feels about right.
San Fran at 20.
Are you
Some of the best teams from this era, like the last decade, they're pretty low. Philly 15,
Well, and it makes sense 'cause
Buffalo 16.
They're kind of aging out a little
Are
bit.
you crazy, though? I get to watch Rashee Rice and see what that jail time workout looked like. That's exciting.
Dude, I did a piece today, so I write for Arrowhead Pride if you want to check it out.
No, we don't pump our own stuff.
There.
We don't pump our own stuff.
I wrote about the 5 biggest X factors.
Play-by-play if you want to listen.
If you wanted to go take a class in radio production, I teach at Lindenwood.
The 5 biggest X factors for the 2026 Chiefs. I think you'll like this one, Alex.
Number 1, Mahomes.
Number 1 was health, which, it goes back to Mahomes.
Oh, cop out.
Yeah, what a cop-out
Starting
answer.
quarterbacks attempting to return in less than a calendar year from a serious knee injury, and the top 2 receivers are returning from injuries, one of whom rehabbed in off-season surgery while in jail.
You're just giving away the goods for your article.
A real sentence that I had to type last night while at my keyboard.
That should be top 5 in entertainment value itself.
Was there a moment, the moment you typed it, went, this feels wrong?
Yeah, no,
Well, if he goes off this year,
it feels right, actually, given what the offseason has been like with Rashee Rice in recent seasons.
watch him go off this year, and then like when they ask why, what worked so well for him as an offensive player, you say, well, I had no distractions when I did my offseason workouts.
Yeah, I was able to get away from everything.
I was able to shut my brain off, really focus on my workouts.
Dude, their offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, yesterday was up at the podium, and they were asking about, a million different things. And Bieniemy, for anybody that's unfamiliar with the way that he does press conferences, like he says a lot and says nothing. But yesterday he actually said something, and he went up there and he was like, yeah, Rashee Rice needs to actually do things that we tell him to do. He needs to be tougher. He needs to be mentally stronger, and he needs to focus. And it's like, whoa.
Send him back.
All right. This is the kind of discipline that Rashee has been needing in his life for a long time. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I'm very curious to see how it all
stayed
goes
away from him in fantasy.
With Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Questions and Answers is next. Alongside Alex and T1 on BK, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. From BK's Ass Sweat. Boy, it's weird to say that on the radio.
So did you want us to react to that?
Do you think the Cardinals should have any interest in claiming Eugenio Suarez off of waivers?
No.
He's like 100 years old. If he was 25, I would take him.
And if you were truly in the playoff race, I could convince myself of it, right? Third base, you can bet on a lottery ticket guy with some true power. Mm-hmm. You're not in the playoff race, and it's better to give opportunities to Gorman, Blaze Jordan, so on and so forth at third.
Agreed.
Is he signed after this year?
No.
No, just
so he's going to be a free agent. You're not even going to bring him back.
He's got a team option maybe, so you can decline it.
No, yeah. So you're not even bringing him back. No, there's no point in that.
Yeah, he's 34 years old. If he was the exact same profile but 25, it would basically be like the Pereira thing. Where, sure, I could do that.
That I'd be all for.
But at 35, it doesn't make sense given where the Cardinals are at in their life cycle right now. From the 618, guys, should I take CMC or Jonathan Taylor as the number 6 overall pick in the fantasy draft this year? I play in a 0.5 point per reception league.
Ugh.
Man, it
that
really
sucks.
This is one of those things where, do you trust Christian McCaffrey to stay healthy? Because if you do, Christian McCaffrey is the better fantasy football player. He kind of breaks the format because of how involved he is in their offense. He's going to get a ton of touches. So if you trust that he's going to stay healthy, he's the obvious pick. Like, you could take him number 1 overall this year, and I'd be like, yeah, I get it.
I wouldn't. I would argue it.
I mean,
number 3
when
overall,
he's healthy,
maybe.
He's just such a special fantasy football player.
I say he's getting so old. He's not actually old, but for football, he's old. You know, I would probably go Taylor just because of the concern for McCaffrey. Because when he gets hurt, it's not missing 2 games; it's missing like half the year, and that can really just sink if you get that first round pick.
Last year, he had 100 receptions. Yeah, it was the 3rd time in his NFL career that as a running back, he's had more than 100 receptions.
You're not wrong.
That just has so much value, man.
Yeah.
You get 50 points in this format for that, and he had 925 yards. So just from his receiving numbers, forget anything he's done as a running back, just as a receiver. Last season in this format that this guy's utilizing, he had 170-ish, 180-ish points that he was able to provide. So per week, he's giving you 10 or 12 fantasy points as a receiver. And that's before he touches the ball a single time as a running back. That's so valuable, man. So I would lean that direction.
Yeah, you're not wrong, and he's a cheat code for fantasy. But again, this is where we kind of meet the fork in the road of you're shooting for upside and I'm looking at the downside. And the downside is you don't have CMC half the year, and then you're scrambling on the waiver wire looking for a running back. I could argue
the same thing for Jonathan Taylor, though.
That's fair.
He's had every bit as much injury history lately as Christian McCaffrey
I'd
has.
go option C and take a wide receiver.
I kind of would, too. It wasn't presented on the test.
I'd take a wide receiver, and I know it's a 0.5 point per reception. I'd still go wide receiver because I would imagine if I'm picking 6th, and those are the running back options, Gibbs is gone, Robinson's gone, I probably have the pick of the litter with the exception of Jamar Chase at the 6th pick. I'd go wide receiver.
From the 636, guys, between Illinois and Mizzou, who is more likely to exceed their expectations this season, and what needs to go right in order for that to happen? What are expectations for Illinois this year, T-Bone?
I think they're like 6-6, 7-5. I think it's somewhere in that range.
Okay.
That's why I would probably say it'd be Illinois. Because I think some Mizzou fans are
over-under in Vegas is 6.5 for Illinois.
That feels right.
Over-under for Mizzou this year is 6.5.
Yeah, I would say Illinois just because I think their schedule will be easier, so it could be easier for them to pick up a surprise extra win there, and you end up at like 7 or 8 wins. Meanwhile, Missouri, I mean, they've got 4 guaranteed losses and 5 depending on how you...
losses.
Sure.
I'll say guaranteed.
I'm going to say guaranteed. So it's like it's hard for them to like get past 7 wins. Means they're going to have to win a big game. So I would say Illinois.
I think I'd still go Mizzou, and it's just because of the star power that they have with Ahmad Hardy. I mean, they ask what has to go right. Your quarterback's got to be good. If your quarterback's good, you've got a Luke Bidet, you've got Ahmad Hardy. I think your offense can put up points regardless of what your defense can do. And if you're going off of exceeding expectations, if the expectations are 6.5, I think they could get to 7 or 8 if everything goes right.
Yeah, I just don't like 7. I don't think does it for Mizzou fans.
Probably not. You need to get to 8 to 9.
For Illinois fans, you get to like 7 or 8 wins. I think I could have a misread on this. I think most Illinois fans would be like, yeah, that's pretty good for what this year is. I think Mizzou's kind of past that with Eli Drinkwitz at this point, where a 7-win season would be met with a bunch of all right, on to 2027. You know, so I think for Illinois, I can look at their schedule and kind of see how it comes together pretty easily. UAB win, Southern Illinois win, Purdue stinks win, Michigan State first year under a new head coach. All right, maybe you find a way to win that one.
Maryland stinks win.
UCLA, maybe that one you're able to get on the right side of it. Again, first year head coach. Maybe he's getting his new program kind of going this year. Next year, they're a little better. And the Northwestern win. Boom, you got 7. That's without a single quality win on your resume, but you got to 7.
Yeah.
So I think it's easier to come up with that formula for Illinois this year than it is for Mizzou.
Did you not give us a Duke win? What the?
If I didn't, then 8. Boom. There you go.
All right.
We're having fun.
We're having fun. And when we beat Iowa in the 1910s football, call us playoff bound.
Well, that ain't happening. Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, it's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show. Coming up next, what's your level of concern over Joshua Baez's recent struggles? We'll get into it next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. All right, so Joshua Baez is going through it a little bit right now. He's getting a taste of what it's really like to be a big leaguer after that 3-for-3 start to his career with 3 homers in that debut. Alex, since then, he's 3 for 37. He does have a home run. That's nice. Unfortunately, he also has 17 strikeouts in his last 37 at-bats.
That's not bad.
You look underneath the hood. Yeah, the quality of contact also not quite what it was early on either. The first few games, you could look at it and be like, man, he's hitting the crap out of the baseball. He's just not getting the results. Since then, yeah, it's just he's having a tough go of it. I've already seen some of it happening, Alex, where it turns quick on these guys. We're 11 games into his career, and Cardinals fans say, time to send him back down. Not
Trade
ready.
him.
Now, that is the vocal minority. I want to make that very clear. Most people are not saying that kind of stuff, but it's just, the very loud mouths on Twitter that are getting their opinions
Ferrario.
out there.
Whoa.
Alex, I'm asking this. This is not my opinion of it, but I'm asking this. Is it fair to be concerned about Joshua Baez after the last 11 games? He's batting .081 with a .329 OPS.
It's absolutely fair to be concerned. Now, it's not fair to sit here and start screaming to send him down and that you're done with it. Like, this was the whole thing. We knew this going in as Cardinals fans. It's going to strike out a lot. There's a swing and miss problem. Sure, he smashes home runs down in AAA, but he misses a lot. It's just like what we saw with Nolan Gorman. To me, though, I could care less if the swing and miss happens. Like, he's going to have to figure out what it is at the major league level at some point. Watching what he did in Memphis, there's nothing more for that guy to learn down in AAA. I don't think he's ever going to change the way he approaches it in terms of swinging at balls that he believes he can murder and hit home runs with. I think what Joshua Baez needs is a dose of reality and like, hey, if you're going to take this approach, you're going to have to make adjustments because major league pitchers are going to exploit the hell out of you. If you don't believe it, talk to Jordan Walker because they did it to him for about 4 years of blowing away, making him swing at those. So I think what's happening to Joshua Baez now is really good for his development. Not great for your mental side of it, but as we heard Rob Serfolio talk about, like this guy goes about his business the same every day. Get the dose of reality, go through this season with the ability to see like, hey, I can hit home runs at the major leagues. I got to tweak some of my approach, though, so I can make more contact and not swing and miss.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's fair right now to be even like looking at his numbers and saying, see, this is not going to work out because this happens all the time with guys that get that call up around mid-August. They really struggle. And to me, when I think it starts to become fair to start judging the numbers is what does he look like next year after the first month and a half of the season? If he looks a lot like he does now, okay, that's fair, right? He had a month and a half to experience big league pitching, kind of go through the process of learning, hey, here's how I get to Busch Stadium. Here's how we go through our hitters meetings here. Here's all this information. And these guys are 5 times better than the pitching I saw at AAA. Okay, now that I've seen that, I get a whole offseason to try and work on stuff, to try and prepare better for it. Now I want to see what you do. Like Mason Wynn was terrible when he got up here, and when he got that cup of coffee in 2023. Ended up being above league average the next season. And I think that was very valuable for him to go through. I think this is very valuable for Joshua Baez to go through. So I'm not really judging him off of what his numbers are right now.
This is why I'm not doing the I told you so thing, but like this, sometimes that's what it is. It's what we were talking about 2 months ago when they were looking at, hey, is it time to call up Joshua Baez? And we asked the question at the time, like, hey, would you consider selling high on Joshua Baez? Because this was always the likely outcome when he came up, is that he's going to swing and miss a bunch. He's going to strike out a ton, and you're going to get 3 weeks in, and you're going to have a little buyer's remorse. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way because next year he might hit 30 home runs for the Cardinals. That's also very much in play. But when you have a prospect like this, there's huge variance in what the good looks like and what the bad looks like. That doesn't mean it always becomes what Nolan Gorman is, but the good looks a lot like when Nolan Gorman hit 27 home runs in a season, and the bad looks a lot like kind of what it's been since then. And it just becomes a question of, all right, where's he ultimately going to fit in those? Hell, we talked about Eugenio Suarez. It's kind of some of this profile as well, right? Where Eugenio Suarez is going to run into 30-ish home runs per year, and it's a matter of do you get him on a good year or a bad year if he hits 250 or if he hits 200? If he hits 250, you feel good about it at the end of the year. If he hits 200, well, he probably didn't make enough contacts that year to feel good about it. It's kind of what it is. So with Joshua Baez, dude, he's hitting the ball incredibly hard. Average exit velo, 93 miles per hour. Barrel rate, among the best in baseball. Hard hit rate, literally the best in baseball. Swings the bat at 78 miles an hour on average. That's right up there with the best in the league. That might not sound like a big deal to you. It is. When you look at the way that translates to power, it's real. You swing the bat harder, and more often than not, you're going to make big-time power contact. Here's the problem. When you swing the bat that fast, you're swinging right through the zone sometimes. And that means you don't have as much margin for error with your swing. And that's what we're learning right now, is that he swings and misses 36% of the time. He's chasing at 2 out of every 5 pitches that he swings at outside of the zone. Dude, that's a ton. And that is the kind of rate that is wildly unsustainable for success. He's going to have to hone that in. We saw this with Alec Burleson early on, where he was a free swinger. It was wild, and he wasn't able to do damage because of it. It's a slightly different problem for Baez, and that his is not making contact with a bunch of bad pitches outside of the zone that he can't do damage against. His is that he's just not making contact at all. So you have to hone in your strike zone awareness, whether that's pitch recognition or just pitch selection, and then put together your plan at the plate accordingly. He's still working on that. He's 23 years old. He's in his first 12 games at the big league level. I think there's a chance that he's going to. But right now, you're seeing the downside of what it could look like for him. And there's no guarantee that it gets better. This might just be what he is. Or could be next year that he comes back and you see a lot more of what we saw against the Cubs in that debut. And if we do, boy, we're all going to be excited that he's part of this lineup.
Every game? Wow. Yeah, I'm not worried about him yet, because this is kind of how he was profiled. I think your hope is he ends up being what Gorman's good season was. And I think people even in that good season from Gorman were kind of disappointed with Gorman. But he hit 236, had a 328 on base, but slugged 479. I think that's kind of what you're hoping for with Joshua Baez. If you were hoping for a guy that was going to be like a 260 hitter that hit 30 home runs, I just don't think that was ever in the cards for him, because he chases so much. And he misses when he's in the zone. I mean, that's the big difference between him and Burley. Burley didn't miss in the zone as much as Baez does. He chased a lot, but he didn't miss when it was in the zone for him. I see Baez as a guy that just needs some time. And based on what we saw, like, Burley's a great example of this. This is why I'm still a little bit of a dreamer of Blaze. Maybe not so much as an everyday third baseman, but as a bat. Cardinals have done a pretty good job of getting these guys to come into the zone and kind of lock in under Brant Brown. So I'm hoping now that he's here with Brownie, he'll be able to really kind of hone him in on, hey, it's great that you're swinging extremely hard. Let's limit it to these 2 zones and what we're looking for.
From Super Brad over on the YouTube chat, youtube.com/101ESPN Guys, pretty sure Baez has a higher ceiling than Gorman ever did. You can also excuse the strikeouts that look like, damn, well, he did swing really hard. I'm not sure that's true. Nolan Gorman was a higher caliber prospect than Joshua Baez is. And what I mean by that is not just what I think, it's third-party publications. Joshua Baez coming into this season was a bottom half of the top 100 prospect. Nolan Gorman was a top 35 prospect in Major League Baseball. So he was a higher caliber of prospect, and that's by Baseball America, MLB Pipeline, and Baseball Prospectus. They all were consensus in that he was a top 35 guy that year. Now, it's different year to year. Sometimes there's better prospects in the system versus other years, but Joshua Baez is not traditionally viewed as a prospect quite as high of a caliber as Nolan Gorman was. Also, just by draft pedigree. Nolan Gorman was a higher pick than Joshua Baez was. Now, I think Baez has more stuff that I can point to. He is bigger, he is stronger, he is faster than Nolan Gorman. That also leads to some other things, though. Because he has such long levers and he's a bigger, stronger, faster guy, it's going to lead to some mechanical things at the big league level that he might have to tweak as well. But yeah, no, prospect-wise, I think it's Nolan Gorman was a higher level prospect.
Yeah, and he was more valued across the sport in terms of kind of how you profiled him, because, yeah, he had the same kind of power, but it was from the left side. Right, I mean, left side power is what teams really covet because of what we talked about in October for the big right-handers that you see. Baez as a right-handed power hitter is just not as valuable based on what teams are looking for. But yeah, I mean, I think Gorman was the more highly sought-after prospect.
Could I argue the opposite now?
About what?
Right-handed power? I think it's flipped because it's so rare.
I feel like everybody's got the lefty powers.
Nobody has right-handed power in the game right now. Like, think back to the trade deadline. Normally what you hear is that everybody's craving left-handed power bats at the deadline. It was the opposite this year, where everybody across the league was like, boy, we could really use a right-handed bat that has some thump, because it's just gone. Like, the right-handed pop around the league is not what it once was. So I'm totally with you that traditionally and historically speaking, that's been the case. I think this year it's different for Major League Baseball.
I get what you're saying. I view that more as a regular season thing than a October thing. Because I think in October, you're going to see a ton of right-handed pitching. And I think that's where the lefties become very valuable. Derek's talked about it. There is a significant drop-off in OPS from righties in the regular season to October. I think that's more of a regular season thing than it is hey, we need a big right-handed thumper in the middle of our lineup for October. I think teams are still looking for those big lefty bats.
I think they are, but I think that there is more value in the right-handed bat today than maybe there was previously. Because it's just so hard to find them.
Of the top 7 leaders with home runs, only 2 of them are right-handed hitters.
Yeah. Who is it?
It's really hard to be a right-handed hitter in Major League Baseball.
Yeah. Schwarber, Olsen, Alvarez, Ben Rice, Pete Crow, Armstrong.
Damn, PCA's that high on the list.
33.
Alonso.
Yeah, is
that guy's
he lefty
too? No, he's a righty.
Yeah.
He's having a great season, though.
He
a lot of that's thanks to the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're really pumping the numbers.
Yeah, we're really pumping him up.
Yeah, but in the top 10, it's like 7 of the top 10.
Yeah, and then you got Shohei and James Wood.
It's quite the top group of guys when it comes to left-handed bats in Major League Baseball right now. There's just not a whole lot of right-handed
Now, I will say, too, to argue against myself, because I said, chill out. What's the difference between Josh Baez and Jimmy Crooks?
First of all, fair.
My only retort to that would be the position. I've got Leo Bernal in the minors that I'd like to see. I don't have another outfielder that I'd like to see for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of it for me.
Agreed.
But both of them are swinging and missing a lot, not making a whole lot of contact. The difference is Baez had a historical first game, and Jimmy Crooks has not had a good game.
And I think to your point on the catching, it's not just that you have a prospect, but there's a second prospect coming in, Rodriguez, who could be here and be bat ready potentially by next year. And B, it's decision time on the catching situation, right? You've got, 4 catchers that are ready to go, depending on how you view Rodriguez. His bat's probably close to ready for the majors, maybe not position play or defensively yet, but that's 4 catchers. To your point on the outfield, who's the next closest outfield prospect?
There's none.
Is it Ty P? He's in Double-A.
There's some guys at
Victor Scott, if you go right from BK's thinking yesterday, because he's heating up.
I think there's some guys at Double-A that are at least somewhat interesting. Ty Pete being among them, but it's not just him. Jesus Baez can potentially kick out there eventually.
Juan Bin Cho
and Josiah Ragsdale, the guy that got at the deadline, will probably be the number 1 guy.
Ragsdale would be probably the number 1. That's fair. I forgot he's at Double-A.
Yeah.
But even
I think
those
he's had
guys
some struggles though since coming over to the Cardinals. By the way,
those guys, I don't know that they had the ceiling that you could project with Baez if all the tools hit with Baez. If all the tools hit with Baez, you're talking about 40 home run, maybe 30 stolen base potential.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if any of those guys have that high a ceiling. Maybe you could mention that with Pete because he's got some pretty good raw tools. But
I just think the difference is that I want to see Leo Bernal, and I know we're going to talk about that a little later. I want to see him. I don't really need to see anybody else in the outfield, so I'd rather get the reps for a guy like Josh Baez versus a guy like Jimmy Crooks. Hey, there's still some things to work on for you in the minors. Put Bernal in this spot, go figure your stuff out, and we'll talk again next year.
I think that's a really big part of it is it's looking at the options. Okay, if not him, then who?
Right.
If not Jimmy Crooks, then you could get Leo Bernal and Devon Herrera as your everyday regulars behind the plate. Okay, well, that sounds pretty interesting to me.
I'd take that.
If not Joshua Baez, then Jose Fermin and Brian Torres and I don't know.
Hey, the Ferminator's leading off today.
Who else ends up getting more outfield opportunities? There's just not a good, viable alternative out there in the outfield. It was Lars Nootbaar, which they went with. And they stuck with it until the trade deadline, and they were able to get a good return for him.
And I'll stick to my guns. I'm glad that they did it because I wanted to see Baez.
It was the right move. And now you find out what you've got in Joshua Baez. And you give him the runway, as they should. They're doing the right thing here. And we'll find out what it looks like the rest of the way. Yeah, he should be out there basically every day. Get a couple of off days here and there. That's fine. But other than that, see what he can do. Take that into the offseason. Adjust accordingly. take that into your offseason plan, and then hopefully next year you come back and you're a better version of the guy that we saw this year. That being said, these struggles are not surprising.
Right.
And the way that he's struggling is not surprising. It was always likely to be a lot of swing and miss. And the hope is that he's able to figure that out over time. Coming up in 15 minutes, are these the 3 most improved teams in the NHL? We'll get into that in about 15 minutes. But next, so Mark Mitchell, is he back in play for Mizzou now, I guess? We'll talk about that next here on 101 ESPN. Quick thing here from 24/7 Sports. They write about college football over there, and they do a lot of recruiting information. That's where Power Mizzou is located. They're based in the 24/7 Sports Network. They just put out the top 10 most talented teams in the country based upon their metrics. They have number 1 this year. I was surprised by this. Georgia. They're getting like 0 buzz heading into this season. But Georgia Bulldogs, number 1 most talented team according to their metrics in the country this year. Number 2 is Oregon. Number 3 is Alabama. How about that? Alabama at number 3 on this list. Number
the
4
SEC is back.
Texas, and number 5 is Ohio State. Rounding out the top 10 are Notre Dame, Texas A&M, LSU with the Fightin' Lane Kiffins. Number 9 is USC, another team that's getting very little buzz. And number 10, Michigan. They're a team that I would monitor this year.
Their schedule's brutal.
I think they've got a really good coach finally for the first time since Harbaugh left. And if they've got a top 10 talented team, they could be a little interesting there. Anything stand out to you, Alex, about the top 10 there?
Really, Alabama and Georgia. It felt like they were trending in the opposite direction after last season, where you start to see more talent kind of disperse amongst college football rather than just to the two dominant ones for the longest time. The fact that they're back, and maybe Georgia shouldn't surprise me because they seem to always have success in the transfer portal. I think Alabama surprises me a little bit because it just felt like Alabama wasn't that juggernaut that they've always been.
Yeah.
Alabama 25-1 to win the title this year. USC you could get at 35-1 odds if you're believing in them as a top 10 talented team.
Yeah, Alabama's the one that surprises me. Like Georgia, they're not getting any buzz. That probably is best for Kirby Smart, that they're kind of flying under the radar.
They are based upon FanDuel's rankings, by the way. 8.5 to 1. They're the same odds to win the title as Texas. So they're getting no buzz, but I mean, Vegas believes in them.
And that makes sense.
Vegas.
Like I would trust Kirby Smart to build a good roster. I don't know, DeBoer, like, I just feel like that is just stalled at Alabama. Like, to me, I think I would be willing to bet more that he gets fired as the first coach in the country than I would bet that they're going to get to the playoff, let alone win the national championship. So they are surprising to me because I just have not liked anything that DeBoer has done over there with the Crimson Tide.
All right, so there's your college football note here.
Illinois is probably 11.
No, not at 11.
I don't think so.
Mizzou is in the top 25.
That's wrong.
They're at number 18 as the
they
18th most talented team in the country, according to 24/7.
Watch out, T-Bone.
Sports. Let's go ahead and talk
Can't
about that
win a big
here
game.
for just a moment.
Can't.
There were two different articles that came out on The Athletic earlier today, Alex, that I think represent, if you want to use an old Moism, the delta between what the good and the bad version of Mizzou could look like
just
this
got
season.
chills.
I know.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Don't do that again.
Yeah.
That's LA's problem now.
So, on the good side of things, they had one of their writers say, hey, you know, if I'm making a bold prediction this year, Missouri to go to the college football playoff, that would be my long shot bet. One of my long shots to potentially get there would be Missouri from the SEC.
That's bold.
Now, on the other side of things, they had a projection by one of their writers on what Missouri will be this year in the SEC. They had every team's record from the SEC projected. They had Mizzou at 5-7. So you had one writer projecting the SEC, and they had Mizzou at 5-7, and another writer giving bold predictions. They had Mizzou getting to the college football playoff. Boy, if there's not any.
Which one do you trust more?
I think it's probably most likely somewhere in between, but it speaks to just the variance that this team could have in 2026, man. I have no idea what to expect out of them.
I don't either, and I think it all comes down to your quarterback play. I mean, like the teams that are typically at the top, you're dominant in one area more times than not. If you've got the quarterback that has that highlight reel stuff, that has the arm, the accuracy, that's what's going to rise you to the top. So, like, yeah, we've gone through the schedule a lot already, and like you look at Florida and A&M and Ole Miss and Texas and Georgia, and it's unrealistic to think that they're going to pull out victories in all of those.
Yeah.
If you've got a quarterback, though, if Austin Simmons becomes a guy that can sling the football and can match up with a Luke Bidet and can come up with some of these creative offensive plays, I can look at some of those games and say, yeah, maybe you win against Florida. Yeah, maybe you could pull off a victory against Texas, because I don't really like Arch Manning, but if you don't have the quarterback, then we're unrealistic, and it's a 5-win season.
Yeah, I agree with what BK said. I think they probably fall somewhere in between, and I think it's because they've got two huge, I don't know if question mark's the right word, but two in line with kind of the deltas we're talking about. They've got two like positions that can really swing that. Quarterback is one, like you had mentioned, because I think you're 100% spot on. I think he's going to be a guy that like surprises us and helps them win a big game, and then Drink can kind of throw that to the side, and then like they lose to Kentucky. I like because of him, because he turns the ball over. But the other thing for me is also the defense. We're not talking about it because we just keep giving Drink the benefit of the doubt, which I think is fair because Drink has proven he can recruit the defense. They're replacing a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball. And if the defense, even if Simmons is great and ends up becoming like this really good quarterback that's like top 5 in the SEC, we'll say, we've seen really good quarterbacks. If they don't get a defense, they may not be able to win enough to get to the playoff, right? You may lose 4 games with this schedule just because your defense can't get stops. And it's too much to ask of your offense to just continually run up and down the field with Texas and with Georgia and with Oklahoma. So I think with those two variants, I think I'm with BK. They probably fall somewhere in between. They end up like 7-5 and maybe get one big win on their schedule.
The Athletics' projection of 5-7 included the following wins: Arkansas Pine Bluff,
Maybe.
Kansas, Troy, Florida, and Kentucky. They wrote the following: This would be Mizzou's worst record in a decade, and quite a come down after a 29-10 record over the last 3 seasons. But it's very fungible. Those losses at Mississippi State and Arkansas could easily reverse, and if the wins were to hold, at Kansas is probably the toughest of the bunch. That's at least a winning record for the Tigers. That's the thing. Like, if those losses at Mississippi State and Arkansas were to switch, yeah, you're 7-5. I don't think any Mizzou fan is overly thrilled about it, but look at the other losses that they have on this.
Mm-hmm.
Texas A&M, at Ole Miss, Texas, Georgia, and Oklahoma. Winning one of those would be impressive. Winning anything more than that, and somebody on the YouTube chat asked this earlier today, and we briefly mentioned it yesterday, you're in the college football playoff discussion if you get to 9-3 with multiple wins against A&M, Ole Miss, Texas, Georgia, and Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. So that's what makes it so difficult this year, is not every schedule is made the same, and Missouri's schedule this year is very much not made the same as it has been in previous years. Some updates from the Cardinals. This comes from Brendan Schaefer on Twitter. Cardinals right-handed pitcher Hunter Dobbins has an appointment on Tuesday for an outside opinion on the nature of his injury. He was listed with a forearm issue when he landed on the injured list.
Well,
now,
That's not good.
no, that's not good.
We don't know what this means. Generally speaking, you don't get a second opinion if the first one was a positive.
I'll say, when was the first time?
Come on, man.
I was going to say, make a call back to when you heard second opinion. Hey, actually, not bad.
When have you
Arm's
ever
good.
walked out of the doctor's office and been like, man, this seems like it's going to be a really good procedure, but let's go get another opinion?
Yeah, it wasn't. This is not what you want to hear.
Because typically the first one you go to is the one that the team recommends, and they think it's the one that's the most important.
The hope is the second opinion maybe just says, hey, this is not a major injury. This is a significant injury, but it's not, hopefully, going under the microscope and getting that elbow reconstructed.
I would say this. At this point, the hope for the Cardinals is that he's just out for the rest of this year.
Yeah.
I think that might be best case scenario.
And nothing impacting next year.
And that sucks.
Well, they're not playing next year.
Probably.
So he's got 2 years recovery.
Matt Norlander just posted a piece over on CBS Sports. Inside
Rolling around.
I know, damn.
Ding, ding.
I know.
I feel like I'm playing pinball.
There's been a lot of news that's kind of come out within the last 5-10 minutes. Inside the brewing feud between the SEC and Kentucky over Mark Mitchell's eligibility status. Kentucky's Final Four hopes could rest on its willingness to go to war against its own league. Feels like there are two schools that kind of hold the cards to this. One in the SEC for basketball and the other for football. Football is LSU, the Fighting Lane Kiffins.
Go Lane.
And the other Kentucky with the basketball side of things, and Mark Mitchell is really the reason why. He writes the following over on CBSSports.com. Injunctions, judges, and temporary restraining orders. This is college basketball now, and a pivotal battle is brewing between Kentucky and its conference. Prized Missouri transfer Mark Mitchell's eligibility status with the Wildcats is under significant scrutiny, and that could change the complexion of the SEC race. Mitchell was granted a temporary restraining order earlier this month in his fight against the NCAA for a fifth year of eligibility, and Kentucky fans rejoiced at the news. But it turns out his transfer from Missouri actually violates the SEC's prohibited intra-conference transfer rule because Mitchell did not enter the transfer portal during the April window. Kentucky was prepared for this possibility even before Mitchell committed. The question was, will the SEC actually try to stick to the rule? The answer from the league headquarters is ringing out loudly. Yes, they will. The next question up, is Kentucky ready to go to the mat with its conference to keep Mitchell on the roster? So
Boy, it's going to be awkward when Mark comes back to Mizzou and it's like, hey, sorry, man.
Mark Mitchell is currently eligible to play college basketball in 2026. Now, that is not guaranteed to be the case a day, a week, or a month from now. Because if another judge, and this is happening in college football right now, if another judge were to rule, hey, that Kentucky thing, yeah, we're going to overturn that ruling. He's no longer eligible. But if that doesn't happen, let's assume that side of things right now. He's eligible today for college basketball. The SEC has come in and said, hey, man, you could have entered the transfer portal in April. You chose not to. Jacob Cruz did. Javon Porter did. Despite the fact that they were out of eligibility, they entered their name into the portal just in case anything were to happen. Mark Mitchell did not take that same step because at the time he thought he was out of eligibility. So now he's trying to make the case that he couldn't put his name into the portal in April. I think that's going to be a really hard case for him to make, considering his other teammates did so, and they were in the exact same situation that he was at the time. If the SEC's serious about this and Kentucky does not win its case, he would not be allowed to transfer within the conference. Now, that doesn't mean he can't transfer. Just can't go to an SEC school. Maybe he goes to Kansas. Maybe he goes to Michigan or Illinois or wherever, right? He just goes to the highest bidder. Or maybe he comes back to Mizzou after all of this.
I think T-Bone said it best in the office. Just tell me where you're playing at the start of the season. I'm so done.
You got to welcome him back if he asks, right?
Well, hell yeah, you do. It's going to be awkward, I guess, if Dennis, or as long as...
I don't think it would be. Hey, man, they offered you $6 million. We get it.
Shucks, man. Hey, we got like $1 million.
I mean, more awkward for Mark to where it was like, hey, I wanted to be on another team, but I'm fine being back with Mizzou as long as I can play.
I don't feel like it is awkward.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I tried. They were offering me $6 million. You probably go into the locker room and everybody on the team says, yeah, we get it.
Yeah, unless like Mizzou said,
Alex, if somebody offered you $300,000 to go do the job with them, and it's in like Denver or Orlando, wherever, right? You're just going to go to a sports radio gig elsewhere.
My wife would be mad if I said no.
Carolina, to go work there as a Carolina Hurricanes pre- and post-game show, and you're going to make $250,000 a year to do so.
Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah, go take the job, man.
Pretty good.
And if they decided last minute, hey, actually, we found somebody else that's local, we're not going to pay for your expenses. We're going to pay them $100,000. You come back here, we would both look at you and say, we get it.
But also, I'd be pissed at Carolina, and I'd hate Carolina from now on.
Like, that's basically what happened here.
Yeah, unless like Mizzou said like, nah, Mark, kick rocks, man. We like our roster. You're not coming back at all. Like, then maybe there would be that. I don't think they did that, though. I think they said, hey, we got like $1 million. You want to play for $1 million? He's like, man, I'm getting one more shot to make as much as possible. Who wants to pay me? And Kentucky's like, we will. And now, well, yeah, now it won't happen.
That was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, I'll be very curious to see where this all ends up going.
That we're finally getting to this has all led to a crescendo of, hey, we want enforcement. All these conferences, we want enforcement. And then Kentucky's like, hey. LSU with Lane. Whoa, we want pros on our roster.
Hey, wait a second. This works for us.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to look out for our own self-interest here. All right, alongside T-Bone and Alex, I'm BK. Coming up next, are these really the three most improved teams in the NHL? They are, according to one former Blues defenseman. We'll talk about it next here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with the Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Cardinals fell to the Baltimore Orioles last night 8-7 as they have tried to avoid the sweep later on this afternoon. 1:15 will be first pitch. It'll be a bullpen game for the Cardinals with Gordon Graceffo starting it for St. Louis. Trevor Rogers will be on the mound for Baltimore. The Sports Center update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Taking into account, oh my God, I can't believe they spent that much money. Is the team better under its current roster than it was last year? I've got 3 teams for you. San Jose Sharks. They've added toughness to their group with Nurse, Trouba, Marchment, Kesselring, Celebrini locked up long term. The St. Louis Blues made a number of key acquisitions and departures on their roster. Mason McTavish, I think, solidifies their number 2 center slot. Thomas, McTavish, Dvorsky, Suter, Sonny. Get a pretty good 1, 2, 3, 4 right there, which is great. And I think Mason McTavish has something to prove this year, so we'll see how that goes. Connor McMichael, I think, is a great addition. He's a utility. This guy can do everything up and down the lineup, center, wing. I think that's going to be a great addition to their lineup. Brandon Carlo adds a right shot defenseman to the mix. That gives them Parayko, Mayu, Carlo on the right side. I think that solidifies the back end a little bit for them. Do they still try to move Colton Parayko? Nixed the trade last year with his no move clause. Now he has a limited no trade. Do they still try to move him, or do they sit, wait, and see how the team performs? And then lastly, the Washington Capitals. We just talked about the trade where they brought in Jordan Kyrou for Connor McMichael. They also had a huge free agent signing in Alex Tuck. Those 2 pieces are going to be big. Those 3 teams, I think, have really gotten the most bang for their buck.
So the 3 teams, according to Chris Pronger, that have improved more than anybody else this offseason: the San Jose Sharks, the St. Louis Blues, and the Washington Capitals. Alex, do you agree with that assessment? Do you think the Blues are among the top 3 when it comes to most improved rosters this offseason?
This is going to surprise you guys.
They're among the top 3 when it comes to most improved rosters this offseason.
This is going to surprise you guys. I don't. I actually think if there was a top 5, I'd probably have them at number 5. Man, I'm iffy on San Jose. Like, San Jose did a lot of good things. They didn't improve their goaltending. And what ruined their hopes of a playoff push last year was their goaltending was terrible down the stretch.
I'm in on them.
I get it. I mean, everybody loves Macklin Celebrini. They brought it also in Stenberg. Like, they did everything right except fixing the one problem that kept them from the playoffs last year, which was goaltending. I think without question, Florida is the team that improved the most this offseason.
What'd they do?
Yeah, like without, in my opinion, without question, they got Brady freaking Tkachuk.
I do wonder about the goaltending thing. Like that.
Bobrovsky was getting older, and I mean, look, I don't trust Jacob Markstrom, but if you put that defense and Paul Maurice's plan in front of him, I think you can make it look damn good.
We're about to find out.
Yeah,
I'm fascinated to see what it looks like because, I mean, Markstrom's fine. You get into a big game, I trusted Bob.
Yeah.
You know, like during the regular season, no clue. But it's kind of the Bennington thing where I trust that guy to make a big save when it needs to be made, and he did it for multiple seasons. Markstrom's never really been in that spot to the same degree.
It's absolutely fair, but I'll also, you know what makes goaltenders really good? The puck's in the offensive zone more times than not. So, like, that team, without question, like, I think that team improved more than anybody just off of one move. I would actually put Toronto on this list, too, before I would say St. Louis. I mean,
interesting. Okay.
You bring in Gavin McKenna. You just got Sergei Bobrovsky, what's Toronto's biggest issue over the past few years?
Defense.
Defense and goaltending. They also upgraded their defense. They brought in that Darren Radish from Tampa Bay, even though I think you overpaid him. They fixed their depth. And then I do agree, I would give the slight edge to Washington over St. Louis. And it's just because you brought in Alex Tuck and Boone Jenner, upgraded defensive depth. Like, I think Washington...
You're missing somebody that they brought in. But
I'm not talking about him right now. That's just a depth piece right now. I think Washington and St. Louis are probably very similar, which is why I'd probably have it like number 4 St. Louis, and it's a tied for 3rd.
I know people are going to get mad at me, but I think Jordan Kyrou is better than Connor McMichael. I think the league views it that way as well. And the reason being, like, the Blues got more than just Connor McMichael in that deal. If they didn't view him as being the better player right now in that deal, then the Blues would have been the team that had to send more for Connor McMichael. I think the prize in that trade was Jordan Kyrou, and just by that alone, I think they've improved more because I would also make the argument that Alex Tuck is a better player right now than what the Blues got this offseason in McTavish. Mm-hmm. So the Washington Capitals got 2 forwards that are better than your 2 primary forward additions. think that they were the team that improved more than the St. Louis Blues did. And I'll just be honest, like, I like Brandon Carlo. I think he's going to help the Blues. I do not view that. I think a lot of teams had most teams had a Brandon Carlo addition this offseason. If that's one that I'm throwing out there as like, you improved because you have this, then more than likely a top 4 defenseman for you, with Mayu being a third pair defenseman. Hey man, you know I liked the move. I am all in favor of it. You didn't have to give up a ton. I think he's a really solid player. He's under the age of 30. He's been a positive player. He's got a ton of reach. He's big. He's strong. Like, he is a defenseman that I'm happy that the Blues have him. I also think there are a lot of defensemen that kind of fit into this criteria. Like, is he better than Justin Falk?
Yes. Defensively, absolutely.
That's not what I said. Is he better than Justin Falk as a defenseman?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure.
Justin Falk,
I think the league would tell you that Falk is equal or better to Brandon Carlo.
Justin Falk is an incredible offensive-minded defenseman. In defensive zone, to me, he's always been a liability. Because there's always
years ago we were arguing that he was one of the best in the league because of his plus minus.
Because of his offense.
With Torrey Krug.
But that's also part of it. Like, if you're able, as you just mentioned, with Florida, if you're able to keep the puck in the offensive zone, that helps you defensively.
But that's not how Jim Montgomery coaches, though. Like, Jim Montgomery is a defensive-minded coach. And if you look at how they used Justin Falk over the last few years, I mean, this guy's starting almost 90% of the games in the offensive zone.
Absolutely.
And like, I look at it like last season up until January 31st, the Blues allowed the 4th most goals in the National Hockey League. I think Brandon Carlo drops that number down significantly because you're using him in more of a primary role that can play defensive zone coverage.
I think he fits better for the Blues. I'm not entirely sure that he's actually a better defenseman. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, like, when you look at where the Blues are at, I think they improved this offseason. I think they're going to be a better team next year. By how much? I'm not entirely sure. And I think a lot of it is actually not because of their additions. It's because I'm hoping for health. I'm hoping that you get a full year of Robert Thomas at 100%, a full year of Dylan Holloway, a full year of Jimmy Snuggerud. And hopefully everything kind of comes together a little bit better for you this season than it did last year. And if you do, I think you're a better team than you were a year ago. Like, Brandon Carlo, I think, makes you better. I think he fits better than what you had previously. I don't think that's the kind of addition that I would say increases where you're at on a list like this. Like, I think a team like San Jose made better additions this offseason that would fit more into this criteria than what the Blues did, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're going under the context of does it improve the roster from where they were last year, Brandon Carlo does significantly, in my opinion, because last year, defense, penalty kill, special teams, it killed your hopes for a playoff spot in the first 3 months of the season. Brandon Carlo fixes that. The part that I'm skeptical on is the McTavish and McMichael, because you also lacked offense. And that's why I can't look at teams like San Jose, Toronto, Florida, even I know I saw a couple of pieces ahead like Nashville or Utah above St. Louis. I'm not going to go that far. But even a team like Washington, you added more offense to your roster that was desperate for offense. If the Blues get returns to where McTavish and McMichael are offensive players like they were projected to be, then I think easily the Blues are in the top 3. But right now, there's 2 just unknowns that I don't know where they fall in.
Alex, the Blues put out their list of the 2027 Hall of Fame finalists for the St. Louis Blues. The Blues Hall of Fame finalists for the 2027. You only get 1 vote. It is a loaded list of former Blues players
this is the
and
opposite
coaches.
of the Cardinals Hall of Fame list that was Pujols and Molina.
Now, I think the Blues are earlier in their tenure, right?
Yeah,
Didn't they just start this a few years ago?
This is the 5th year that
Cardinals
they go into it.
Early on had a similar kind of a thing where they had a bunch of really, really high-level players. Eventually, the Blues will get to where the Cardinals are right now with that. If you could place your vote, Alex, and people can go find all of the finalists on Twitter if they'd like to, who would you vote for? Who would get your nomination for this?
This is tough, like we mentioned, because like you've got Turgeon and Shanahan and Oates on here. I think my vote would go to Ken Hitchcock with a really close second to David Backes. But Ken Hitchcock, to me, took the Blues out of where they were, which was a rebuilding team that was missing the playoffs every single year, had a ton of younger players, and honestly was probably headed for another rebuild if things didn't start to turn for them. And that was coming off of the Blues being President's Trophy winners, trading away Chris Pronger. Ken Hitchcock took that and turned them into a team that made the playoffs every year except one that he was the head coach, and essentially turned them into the Stanley Cup champions that he was a big part of. So I think Ken Hitchcock would be the no-doubter for me. And the reason I said Backes would be a lot closer, I think Backes steamheaded that push for the Blues to become what the Blues' identity has always been, to where they're an aggressive, physical, hard-nosed team to play against, and Backes was the guy that was brought in as a late draft pick that turned into that.
T-Bone, who would you go with?
I think I'm with Alex and would go with Hitchcock. I wouldn't vote for the guy like Oates and them. I just wouldn't vote for them, just not because they're not deserving of the Hall of Fame. I didn't watch them play, so it's hard for me to kind of put them in. But I would say Hitchcock of the guys on the list for me, because I think he was kind of the face of the franchise when they were coming out of the rebuild, coming out of the abyss and moving into what, even though that group of players like Backes, Oshie, even though they weren't the ones that won, they were ones that helped set up for that next window that ultimately ended up capturing the first cup in franchise history. So, and I think Hitchcock was the face of that. Hitchcock was the one, as Alex said, that kind of got them in line and got them to the playoffs for 6 straight years at the helm of the St. Louis Blues when they hadn't been there for a long time.
I think I would go with David Backes, and it's because of the longevity. Mm-hmm. He was here for a decade. And most of these other guys that are all-time great players, like you look at Adam Oates, it's like 3 years here in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Same thing for Pierre Turgeon. Like it wasn't as long in St. Louis as it was elsewhere. The all-time great players, Hockey Hall of Famers, all of that. But David Backes is a Blue. Like when you think back to his NHL career, you think back to memories of him here and what he was able to do as the captain of this team. And you look at some of the all-time lists, like he's 8th all-time in games played by a Blues player. He's 7th all-time in goals by a St. Louis Blues, and he's top 10 as well in all-time points by a member of the St. Louis Blues. That is, to me, a definition of a Blues Hall of Famer. So I think I would, for this one, go with David Backes as my nominee for Blues Hall of Fame.
Yeah, one that if he doesn't get in this year, he's going to get in at some point, is Ron Caron, former general manager for the Blues from I think it was early 80s to mid 90s. He was the guy that was behind them acquiring Brett Hall. He was the guy that was behind them acquiring Adam Oates, bringing in Doug Gilmour. I think he was behind the Al McKennis trade as well. So all of the legends that a lot of people like me grew up watching, he was a big part of it. But I think Ken Hitchcock or David Backes get in over that name because of what they meant for the Blues' essential Stanley Cup that they got to in 2019.
I didn't realize this until just now, Alex, looking at the all-time points leaders. Do you know where Robert Thomas ranks?
Top 10, isn't he?
He's tied for 10th with David Backes. Did you know he's very likely to be 6th by the end of this year?
Yep.
Alexander Steen is currently 6th. He has 496 career points with the Blues.
Oh, Steiner should trade him.
Robert Thomas has 460. He needs 37 points to get up to 6th. Vladimir Tarasenko is 5th at 555. If Robert Thomas were to have this special season that we've all talked about and get 100 points this year, he would finish the year as the 5th all-time leading points producer. And then if he were to do it again next year, he would be 2nd. Yep. Or excuse me, third, behind Bernie Federko and Brett Hull. Yep. He'd be 3rd all-time for points by a St. Louis Blues player.
Yeah, I was
7 years already.
There's three guys.
Crazy, man.
There's 3 guys in this organization that when their careers are done, they could be the leaderboards on Blues conversations. One is Binnington, who's already there with wins and starts. Mm-hmm. Colton Parayko, I believe, if he finishes his contract with the Blues, he'll be the all-time games played leader by the St. Louis Blues. And I think Thomas could get to Bernie Federko's number. It's going to be very tough. But if he plays his entire career in St. Louis and becomes a player we think he can be, he could be talking about that guy up there with Hull and Federko.
He needs about basically 600 plus points.
Yeah. And you're thinking,
I don't know if he's going to get there.
He's 26.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you're talking about potentially 8 more years of hockey. And if this guy can put up the 80 to 100 points, if he's here, that's the caveat.
80 plus per. It's just a lot.
It's a lot, but if we think he's a 100-point player,
I'm not sure he's that anymore. I mean,
even if you think he's an 80-point player consistently, and if you're going into your winning window, that's how you produce those numbers.
Right, but it's 80 points every year for the next 8 until you're age 35.
Yeah, it's tough.
But, that's again, where it gets hard.
If he plays his entire career in St. Louis, you could be at least, even if you don't catch Federko, you could be in the top 3 with Federko and Hull.
He will be. He's almost certainly going to be top 3. He's only 200 points away from being 3rd.
Yeah.
So that is very likely to take place, assuming that he continues to have the rest of his career.
Here's
here
another fun one. Do those 3 numbers get retired?
Probably. I mean, yeah, if they end up with those.
I think Bennington's no doubter. If Parayko gets the all-time games, although Jackman's number's not retired. Well, it is. It's Bobby Plaker's number.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think those 3.
I know it's hard to get your number retired now. You almost have to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Parayko's that's why I hesitate. I don't think Parayko will go up there.
Yep.
If Benner does, it's because he's the first goalie that won. I mean, he stands out as the first goalie.
Bennington, I think, will.
Yeah. Bennington, no doubt, is. Parayko's got gold because he won gold, correct?
Yeah, he won't. I don't think he'll be a Hall of Famer.
He got a Stanley Cup. So he's got 2 of the 3, like Jay Bowmeister.
Yeah, I don't think he
doesn't put up the points, but it comes down to, remember, it's the Hockey Hall of Fame.
I don't think Parayko's getting in.
Yeah, I think it'd be hard for him to get in.
I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
And if with that being the case, I just don't think his number gets
I don't
retired.
think he was viewed as a number 1 defenseman for most of his NHL career, and I don't think you can get into the Hockey Hall of Fame if you weren't a number 1 defenseman.
Yeah, people are dumb in the NHL that don't view him as a number 1, am I right?
Coming up next, the junk drawer here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here to tell you about something big that is coming. On September 2nd, DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive offers, and all-day celebration built for sports fans. So mark the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is the kickoff of a new season, a new era in the biggest day in sports history. Whatever you're betting, DraftKings Game Day has deals dropping all day long. One app, every sport. DraftKings Game Day is yours. So sign up with DraftKings today with code TANNER. That's code TANNER, and get ready to celebrate the biggest day of the season. New DraftKings customers sign up with my promo code TANNER and spend $5 to get $200 in bonus bets within 21 days. That's code TANNER in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 in non-withdrawable bonus bets issued every 7 days via click to claim for 21 days. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer.
I understand why companies do this. I just don't need it. Do you see the latest edition of what ESPN's doing when it comes to their documentary series, Alex?
Yeah, the Saban piece.
They're doing a Nick Saban documentary. It's called Saban.
Nice name, very creative.
It will be 6 episodes.
Holy smokes.
Do we need 6 episodes of Nick
It's
Saban?
slated to debut on October 8th on ESPN. Now,
Is it like is
I'll
it his
probably
career?
watch this.
Like it's an entire career.
17 seasons.
I mean, I get it.
6 episodes though?
Are they an hour long each?
Probably.
I mean, I don't
It's
know.
not a
I-
sitcom, 30
I mean,
minutes.
The dude's got 17 seasons of success. He's did the NFL,
we can-
dominated college. I kind of get it.
I would say 3.
Yeah, we can do a mini series on this. Now a lot of this is just
That's not how you make money, guys.
Exactly. That's why they're doing it this way. And so I get it. I understand why they operate this way. We've lost the art of editing.
Oh, well,
For the sake of clarity and for the sake of like getting the best content in there.
that you're right on.
You know, like this is 10 years ago. This would have been a 2 to 3 part documentary on, you know, the most important things you need to know about Nick Saban's career. And it would have included like big time stuff and revealing information. And today you get these kinds of things. My guess is he'll probably want to be one of the executive producers on it. And when you get something like that, it means you're not actually going to get anything that's truly revealed. That's anything like enlightening in this documentary. So I'll probably watch it, Alex. I'll have it in the background. It's not something I'm going to be like appointment television for.
Yeah.
But man, I just don't.
Everybody's
we don't
chasing-
need everything to be The Last Dance.
Everybody's chasing the last dance, though. When you make that type of
And that was
money,
just a
everybody
COVID special. Let's
you
be honest.
find
Exactly.
you find the most polarizing individual and say, we're going to turn this into a documentary.
Is it just me, or is it like Saban? It just does nothing for me. Like great
just you.
coach, I just think I don't find him like exciting
I
to
think
watch.
it's-
6-part
I
documentary.
could be
on.
wrong here, Alex. You can tell me if you agree. I think a lot of that is because like, say a lot of what Saban did was kind of before your time.
Like, you don't
Kind of,
even
like, I
really know the
remember-
NFL version of Saban, do you?
No, I don't remember LSU, but I remember him dominating at Alabama. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up on
That
him
was
at
the back
Bama
half
just
of
being
Saban, though.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, Saban's career, I mean, it's
When were
fascinating.
you born?
99, August of 99.
So your first real memories of college football would be like 2010, 2011?
somewhere in that range. Like I can barely remember Tebow at Florida to give you context.
Okay. Yeah, there's some Saban stuff that you'll probably see in this documentary that you didn't know about. Like, did you know he was the Browns defense coordinator?
Yeah,
In the
because I remember
NFL?
seeing it in, because wasn't he with Belichick? Yeah, because I remember seeing that in the documentary with Belichick.
Okay.
I don't like, for me, I mean, like his personality doesn't do much for me. Hell of a football coach. I'm not denying that. I just like when I hear him, even on game day now, right? He's an analyst. I'm like, great information. Just not much there.
Just playing for
It's not prime league course.
Bill Belichick's is coming soon, too. That'll happen whenever that man calls it a career, and you're going to get the same Belichick.
He's already kind of had his.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to turn it into an 8-part documentary.
Is it going to like tell me how good his North Carolina tenure was?
I do
It'll
wonder
be the
like,
last episode. It'll be on the cutting room floor.
What do you
Bonus feature.
look at for the 6 episodes in something like this?
would
That's what I
imagine-
struggle with.
I would imagine how he
guess
got his
growing
start.
up.
Yeah, you get the growing up
do
part.
you care about that? Like, is that going to really captivate
That's what I'm
people?
saying. Like, it
People
just
that are
doesn't do much
obsessed
for me.
with Saban, though, like people find that stuff interesting. Like I can't shoot it down completely. Like some people may not, but people that are big Alabama fans or big Nick Saban fans, like
Yeah.
you're curious about how you got into the business.
I just don't think that needs
Did he have
an hour.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Oh, I'm with you, but like
Did he even
when you're doing
have-
a documentary, that's where you start, and then you get into how you got into football, which is kind of the growing up side. You get the NFL legacy.
But all of that could be 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, but
As part of episode
or his
1
book.
of a 3-part series.
again, but it doesn't make
I
money
know.
the same way.
I know.
If I get 6 episodes, which you release it at a time where there's nothing going on,
They're not, though. They're releasing this at a time when college football is going on.
perfect way to get started for it. You only got college football on Saturday.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I get it. If you're somebody that's going to watch this, I probably will. It
I'm
will not be
arguing for something that I'm
appointment.
not even going to watch. Yeah, like I could care less.
I would be more likely to spend time with this and really be intrigued by it if it was a 3-part series.
Yeah.
I would rather see something like that because I know they've edited out the stuff that I don't need to see. Michael Jordan's career was fascinating. The dude literally walked away from basketball for 2 years in his prime, and there are thoughts among some that it was because, conspiracy theories, he was gambling. Like, there's a lot of stuff there, right? it's the story about him away from basketball every bit as much as it is the story of him in basketball. Through him, you can tell the story of the dream team. Like, there's the 90s era of basketball is Michael Jordan personified. He is what allowed the NBA to take that next step from Magic versus Larry to where the NBA was in the 90s. And then they lost everything when he left, and there was nobody really to replace his charisma in the league in the early 2000s. Man, that ain't it for Saban. What? There's not 6 episodes on Saban the way that there is for
You're not feeling
Michael Jordan.
No one's taking the reins of Saban, so there's a cool story.
Basically, the way that I would view it is if Michael Jordan gets 6, everybody else gets less than that. Because you're not as interesting as Michael Jordan.
Honestly,
I think
fair.
good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
It's like for the Blues, hey man, Robert Thomas makes 8, everybody else is below that. Or for honestly, better one is probably Florida.
Yeah.
Hey, our captain makes 10, everybody else you get in below that.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. You get less than Michael Jordan. Tiger, you maybe are able to get 8.
Oh, Tiger could put together 6, no problem.
But anybody else,
He's
if you're not
fascinating.
Tiger and you're not
Tiger's-
Michael, 5 or fewer.
Tiger's court appearances are probably one episode in itself.
News in Major League Baseball, according to C. Trent Rosencrantz with The Athletic, both Eugenio Suarez and TJ Friedel have cleared waivers and will be with the team in Chicago. So Eugenio
Reds.
Suarez, TJ Friedel, both have cleared waivers and will continue to play for the Cincinnati Reds. Coming up next,
Go Reds.
was the Cardinals' hot start just a mirage? We'll get into that here on BK and Ferrario. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. I'll mention this because I've seen a number of people bring it up on the text line. I don't know anything about it, so just full disclosure. News from golf. Callaway has dropped their Good Golf partnership after the ad that got a lot of backlash. So I'm sure many of you have a lot of thoughts on that. Just to be candid, I don't, but I wanted to pass it along because I know it's been something that's kind of been in the news out there. There was an advertisement that went out from Good Golf. They have chosen to end their partnership, has Callaway, with Good Golf. And according to this report, they're giving a $1 million charitable donation as well as part of this. Alex, you don't really know much on this either?
I don't either. I've seen...
You're my resident golf guy, so I wasn't sure.
That's scary considering. I've seen the people saying, like, no more purchasing Callaway, and then obviously they dropped this one. I mean, look, the commercial that they put out there was in really poor taste. T-Bone and I were just talking about it. Like, it essentially depicts a guy pushing a woman over who's going to pick up a golf ball. Don't be stupid. Violence against women is not good. And I don't even know how this gets through the PR that allows this commercial to get out there. But yeah, that's about it, to where it's just Callaway drops it because of a commercial that never should have aired.
All right. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. So I wanted to ask you guys this, and I asked it about the Cardinals. I don't know that that's necessarily fair. I think it's more specific. So was the Cardinals' hot start a mirage is the way that I wanted to present this. And really, I'm asking about two different things. I'm asking about the guys that have primarily hit in the top two in your order, Herrera and J.J. Weatherholt, and then I'm asking about the starting pitching. Because your starting pitching on the season is still top 12 in ERA this year. And when you look at what the top two hitters in your lineup have done, again, Herrera and Weatherholt, they are now batting .245 and they have an OPS below .750 for each of them. And you go back to the first month, 6 weeks of the season, those guys were awesome. They were a huge part of why the Cardinals were able to get off to their hot start. How much of that was a mirage, Alex, versus it's real and it's something that you can believe in for the future?
Speaking of the offense right now with Herrera?
You can go in either direction,
Okay.
but those are kind of the two places that I wanted to focus on. Starting pitching, which had propped up the team for the majority of the season and now appears to be crumbling.
Was for 162. Well, they have done their job of keeping them healthy, and you have the ups and downs of a hitter. I think what you learned with Ivan Herrera is he's not the MVP caliber player we thought he was. He's just a really damn good player. So maybe that was the mirage, more of what we saw last year versus what this is with reality. Weatherholt, I'm not there yet. It's his first year as a player. So, like, I looked at this as you're going to have a lot of bad, just like you're going to have a lot of good. Frankly, it's still going to be a hell of a return for a guy that's going to finish top 3 in Rookie of the Year voting. I look at the pitching as less of a mirage. I think the pitching, what they did early on is what they're capable of. Like guys like McGreevy, guys like Leahy is still just surprising as all hell to me, because they have elite defense and pitching at Busch Stadium can benefit them. But I also feel like what we're seeing now, I expected it. And maybe I was in the minority. I kind of expected it to fall off at some point for those guys because they just don't have the swing and miss stuff that can get you through an entire 162.
I think McGreevy was a mirage. I don't think it was ever sustainable what he was doing at the beginning of the year. And this is a guy who I think is a solid starter, but I think he's more of a 4 than what he had been pitching like for most of the year. Like, as recently as mid-July, Michael McGreevy was maintaining a sub-3 ERA. That's crazy. That's a number 1 style of pitcher. And now over his last 7 starts, he has a 7 ERA. I think that was always coming for him. Now, that doesn't mean he's a 7 ERA starter for the rest of his career. I don't think that's what he is either. I think he's more of a 4.5 ERA kind of a guy. That's the way that I would peg him for. Not peg him. That's where.
I hope he's warmed up and limber tonight. Boy, you and McGreevy, man, I didn't know you were this into it. Wow. I think we should probably let TMA know what we've really uncovered in the last couple of shows.
No, we're going to have to use a different way to describe it. I prefer not to say that we've uncovered anything. The worst part is you went back and corrected yourself and you were like, not peg him. Like,
Why would you circle back on that? I just want to peg him. Well, I don't want to peg him. It's just, what? Move on, man.
Definitely caught my attention.
Just do hope he is warmed up and limber for the team.
Team, huh?
Well, I mean, what else do they got, right?
Anyway, so McGreevy, I think, is going to be more of a 4.5 ERA pitcher moving forward. And he wasn't that for the majority of the season. But I think it was a mirage in that I don't think he was ever a sub-3 ERA guy. You look at the underlying numbers. He doesn't get swing and miss. He doesn't strike guys out. He pitches to contact. I think he's solid. I think he has like the art of pitching, whatever that is, whatever you believe it to be. As Jack Flaherty once told Derek Gould, I think McGreevy has some of that, but not to the degree where he was, performing like a number one.
Well, if you don't peg him, then, we won't be any problems with this.
Yeah, I agree with.
Stop.
I agree with.
I think he's solid too, though, man.
Text line said, let's just go to Believe It or Not.
I think he's solid too, though, BK. I really do think he's a solid guy.
I agree with what BK was saying about the regression
Seems
coming
great.
for Michael McGreevy. I agree with that. I also believe it's coming for Palante at some point.
He seems great. He's a freak.
Context, where did that come from? The text
Mahomes
line?
Longbody says BK's a freak, but also BK's a freak.
Somebody's going to
I
use
hope
that.
he's one of the players that listens on his drive-in. He's already
They're
there.
at the ballpark.
How
Yeah,
much is
right
he-
now.
if he's got it like on a speaker right now,
Right,
let's
it's
warm
in
it
the-
up. Did that guy
Ollie's
just,
like, what the Believe?
did that guy just say, I hope he's warmed up and limber? Hey guys, a local radio show said McGreevy wanted to get pegged. Wait, what?
No, he said he pegged him.
Yeah, get us back on track.
Go to Believe It or Not. Believe It or Not is next.
Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so
Free, flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be?
Believe it or not, it's just me.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Covered Service text line for Believe It or Not.
I couldn't help but laugh when he said flying away. I thought of those airplane commercials in the last segment. Want to get away?
At this point, man, I have such little shame with what we do.
Yeah, amen to that, buddy.
And I'm so aware of, how people view me and whatever.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable. I'm good.
It's one of those things that when it happens organically, you just go with it.
That's right.
You just let it happen.
All right, guys. Believe it or not, here on BK and Ferrario, believe it or not, Ivan Herrera will be the catcher on opening day of next year.
Believe it. Rodriguez won't be there, so it's either him or Crooks or Bernal. I don't think Bernal gets that shot. I think, if anything, he's the backup, so I'll say believe it.
I'll say not believe it. I think it'll be Bernal next year. That'll be the catcher on opening day. I think he will take the reins as the number one catcher, and then if Herrera is still catching, it will be in his role now, which is, I would call it the backup catcher, which is catches 2 games with specific pitchers.
Which is McGreevy, who will be starting opening day next year.
Well.
I gotcha.
Is McGreevy your opening day starter?
Oh, you think so?
I think it's Leahy.
I think it's McGreevy.
Okay.
I think McGreevy's the dog that gets it.
Either way, I would say they would work around it with pairing him with somebody else if that's the case, just because I think they'll keep him to 2 games out of every 5.
I think this is one of the biggest questions of the offseason. My honest to God answer is I'm not sure. But I'll say believe it, because if it is going to be Leo Bernal, T-Bone, if you're right, why isn't he here? Like, it would be super weird if that's the way that they approach this. If they think he's the guy that is just ready for the job immediately upon getting to opening day next year, I don't think he's going to be. I think it's between Ivan Herrera and Pedro Paez as the opening day catcher for 2027. I know people don't like hearing it, but I think that's kind of where we're at. Alex, what do you got for us?
Guys, believe it or not, Drake May will win the MVP this upcoming season.
Say it again?
Drake May will win MVP this upcoming season.
He's expected to do it now. And once you're expected to do it, the way that people evaluate you is a little bit different.
But they got him the weapon now.
Yeah. I think he'll have a good year. I think also their schedule's a little tougher than it was a year ago.
Yeah.
Which makes it more of the reason why he wins MVP.
I would say not believe it either. I would say it's going to be like Stafford or Burrow, like someone that will put up huge numbers and has proven to do it again. I feel like recently we get excited about one of these first-round quarterbacks that has a great rookie year. I don't know, like C.J. Stroud, I don't know, Jane Daniels, and then they kind of disappoint in year 2. And that's not to say they end up becoming bad quarterbacks. We'll see. It's just very hard to repeat that and just coming in the league guns a-blazing. So I would say not believe it.
I'll believe it. I think he wins it. I think you get A.J. Brown. I think that offense heaves the ball downfield more. Plus, he runs the the football. And I think they do have a good year against a tough schedule.
Guys, believe it or not, Ramon Urias will be your starting third baseman on opening day of 2027.
No.
I think it's not a crazy thing, but no, I'm going to say
not a crazy thing. You shut it down right away.
I think they just sign another third baseman to play that spot next year.
I just don't know who that would be.
It might be Blaze Jordan. And they just wait for Jesus Baez to be ready to go. Like, Blaze Jordan plays the role of what Lars Nootbaar was this year in the outfield. Or what Nathan Church, honestly. That's probably the better comparison. Nathan Church was your opening day left fielder. Like, he was in that group. And eventually he just earned the job in center field until Lars Nootbaar was healthy. I think you could see something like that where Blaze Jordan plays third base, and then whenever Jesus Baez is ready in their estimation, he gets the opportunity.
I also wonder if Fermin gets that start on opening day, too.
Could be.
They love Fermin in the lineup.
That's the one position, that and short. I mean, we haven't really even seen him as short, but to me, he doesn't profile as a third baseman. Arm doesn't really work.
Is
there.
he a short-term option, though?
Does Blaze Jordan profile as a third baseman?
I think he's...
Have they told us no?
No, but I would say believe this. I think there's a real chance Urias is your starting third baseman opening day. I mean, the fact that they're making a significant effort to play him, including over Blaze Jordan at times, tells me, hey, we want to see what he looks like, and we may just pick up. It's like $4 million. I mean, it's nothing to pick up his option, and they signed him for a reason. I think it was to trade him this offseason, and you know what? Maybe they can pick that up and then trade him at the trade deadline next year.
T-Bone yelled at me for that exact opinion a week ago.
Whoa, I still don't like it. Okay, to be fair, I don't like it.
T-Bone yells a lot at people.
He yelled at me and told me that that's stupid a week ago.
It still is stupid.
But you just suggested
But I think that's what they're going to do.
But the logic is there.
Come on,
You
T-Bone.
can disagree with it, but you ask me what they're going to do versus what you want them to do.
Don't be so quick to jump on top of everybody, okay?
All right.
Stupid.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for Believe It or Not. Guys, believe it or not, no one currently in the rotation will be in the rotation in 2029.
Wow, what an overhaul.
I know, damn.
I'll say not. I think McGreevy's in there.
McGreevy or Leahy's in there.
Yeah, I think it's one of those two. Maybe both. I could see a path where both of them are still here, so I'd say not believe it.
This is ridiculous, but I'll go for it. Believe it or not, there will be more teams with green as their primary color in this year's college football playoff semifinal than red.
What the? All right, Oregon.
Miami, Notre Dame.
Is that green?
Versus red.
Yeah, Notre Dame green.
Are you being serious?
Isn't that a primary color?
Shamrock?
though?
Yeah, but
Isn't
their
the primary
jerseys
color.
aren't green, though.
Yeah, they're blue.
And they're like gold.
Yeah.
Green is their
That's fine, but their jerseys
Secondary
aren't.
color. Secondary
but it's
color.
a primary color.
Nah.
I don't think it is. It's
Notre
blue
Dame's
and gold.
primary color is green. I understand what the jerseys are. Notre Dame.
That's fine, but the primary color would be the jerseys that they're wearing. I know you're trying to make yourself right now. It's not.
Yeah.
The
You're wrong.
logo is green with the little Irishman. The jerseys aren't green.
That was one of their original primary colors.
We're not talking about the 60s here, Brandon.
I'll go red. Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, Oklahoma,
Alabama.
Bama. Yeah.
Yeah.
Texas, right? Because that's a shade of red.
No, it's burnt orange. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line.
Got 'em.
For Believe It or Not. From the 618. Guys, believe it or not, if the Cardinals still had Arenado, they would be at least 3 to 4 games closer in the wild card race.
Believe it, because he could play third base.
I actually think I agree.
And his bat's been decent.
Yeah, would his bat do that, though, here?
Not hitting home runs, but I think he's still making contact.
He's actually got decent. I think he's got 15 on the year, if I'm not mistaken, in Arizona. He's been pretty good. The reason I ask would he do that here is because that's a great hitter's ballpark.
Regardless, the defense plays there,
I
and
think
that's
the
been a
guy
problem.
that would have
Agreed.
significantly helped him more would have been Gray and Contreras.
He has 21 homers.
Yeah, he's been
I
really good.
think Arenado helps more than Contreras.
Where's Contreras playing for you?
That's a good
Third
question.
base?
Yeah, I don't know where he's
not playing.
I mean, it'd be tough.
He's not
Sonny's the one that really changes things.
Yeah,
If you
Sonny
had Sonny
leads-
this year, it
Him and-
would look
but
pretty
if I
good.
wanted
Him
two
and
of
May
the-
would have been a great one, too.
If I wanted 2 of 3,
You're in
I'd
the
want
playoffs if
Sonny
you
and
had Sonny.
Arenado.
Yeah. That's fair on Contreras. I mean, I said that out loud just because I was like, wow, his bat's been awesome. I don't know where he plays because then you got to pull probably like Burley out of the lineup, or you had to put Burley in left, and you're not seeing Baez now, which maybe some people will be okay with. I'll still say not believe. I think the more important one would have been Gray than Arenado.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for Believe It or Not. Guys, believe it or not, the Cardinals will have at least 5 new players on the opening day roster next year
5 new bullpen
compared to
arms.
what they end the roster with.
2
this
new
year.
starting pitchers, a
think
third
there's a new-
baseman.
I think there's a new starter.
I'm
I'm thinking at least
count?
2 new bullpen arms.
If he's
I think
not
you
on the
could-
roster at the
yeah,
end
I
of
think
the
you
year.
could count Bernal if he's not on the end.
I'll say roughly around that number.
Yeah.
Because I think you're going to overhaul this bullpen a decent amount.
Yeah, I would say believe it. I think you would. I'm with you there.
I think they're going to have Stanek back. They'll have Soriano back. You'll have O'Brien back. You'll have Gastelum.
I think
Like
one
3
of the
spots
starters
to get
changes. I think at least 2 or 3 of the relievers change, and I think a catcher changes to something new. I don't know if it's the same
And I think they
position
get
or
a
not,
third.
but-
I think they go out and get a different third baseman.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll get back to college football here on BK and Ferrario. But next, these 2 pieces perfectly encapsulate what Mizzou's going to be next year. We'll tell you about them next year on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with the Sports Center update brought to you by Universal Windows Direct. Cardinals in action, Game 3. Their 3-game set against Baltimore. They are currently tied at 0 in the bottom of the second inning. It is a bullpen game today for the Cardinals as Gordon Graceffo got the start. Trevor Rogers on the mound for Baltimore. The Sports Center update was brought to you by Universal Windows Direct. You'll be saying, I love my windows.
Apologize. It's been a weird show. Text line.
The off-air has been
College football
wild.
in 15 minutes, but first a segment on college football. Would you believe it if neither of those things was true? I messed up. I looked at the rundown incorrectly, and I teased the wrong segment. I
Somebody
apologize.
said BK's grade cards must have been awful back in high school.
Yeah, they were decent, actually, believe it or not.
C average.
I had a nice GPA. Nice little GPA over here.
Prove it.
Hey, man, I did all right in the old high school.
You got into Mizzou. That's not impressive.
I always aced.
I had bright flight. I was auto-admitted into the Mizzou J school. Thank you very much.
I always aced Jim.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. All right, so Gordon Graceffo, 2 innings,
You're
no
the
hits,
one Randy doesn't
0
think could keep a
earned,
balloon in the air.
has not had a walk, has 3 strikeouts so far in this Cardinals game, Alex. He's through 2 innings, and he has 22 pitches. You throw him back out there for the third, right?
Hell yeah, I'm throwing him back out there in the third. Where do you think Graceffo's going after today?
I don't know. I think Memphis, but I'm not
if
sure.
they're doing an overhaul, he's going to be part of it.
I think you keep him here if he's pitching like this. I mean, he's been pretty good lately.
I mean, look, you don't have to talk to the president of the Gordon Graceffo fan club and tell him that. I think he should stay too. But if you're going a bullpen overhaul, feel like he's going to be one of the options that they move on from.
I know we gave you a lot of crap. Did you know he has a 3 ERA since the start of July?
Yeah, he's a fire.
I mean, Graceffo's been legitimately pretty good for the Cardinals.
I will not. He's a regression candidate. He screams
You
regression
can't keep
candidate.
saying regression candidate when he's this good
I can.
throughout the season.
I can until I'm proven right.
Look, man, just because you got it wrong with Matt Swanson doesn't mean you're always right. I was right. Gordon
at least
Graceffo.
Swanson had some right on his Baseball Savant page last year.
I
Graceffo
think some
does,
of this
too.
is because, though, of what happened early on this year. I think lately he's been pretty good. Like, you look at the underlying numbers, and just like basically since the start of July, he's been good for the Cardinals. Like, this month, he has 4 strikeouts for the Cardinals. Last month, he had 17 in 15 innings. I mean, the swing and miss is starting to come around in a way that it didn't earlier in the season. And I think he's just becoming a better reliever. I think he's kind of finding who he is as a reliever. And he had to reinvent himself a little bit coming out of the bullpen. So they might actually have a little something here. He's only 26 years old. He was a legit prospect for them. He was starting pitching prospect, failed at that, and now you throw him into the bullpen. That's not a criticism. That's just the way that this works more often than not. He has not thrown in a while. So I wonder if they just keep him in the bullpen, and then their moves are actually Caleb Ferguson and Ryan Fernandez. And those are the guys that end up going away.
I would much rather them do that because Gordon Graceffo is a useful piece in that bullpen. And look, I would still throw him back out there. I mean, if this is a bullpen game and I'm getting pitch efficiency where I can get to 30 pitches through 3 innings, I mean, that's massive for a guy like Gordon Graceffo to use, and then you just shut him down for a few days. So I think that's the smarter play to go, but I definitely would throw him back out there for another inning.
I think it depends on what you want to do, right? I think if you're open to sending him down, I think you push him and try and make him kind of the bulk innings guy, because somebody's going to have to eat bulk here. And
Probably Winquest, right?
I doubt
He'll
it.
probably get you 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think if there's one guy that would do it, it's probably got to be Graceffo.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't want to send him down, then maybe you just kind of go 2 here, and then you kind of try and push like Fernandez for 2, Ferguson for 2, and then you do what you're talking about.
You could do a couple
Brule
with
could do
Brule.
maybe 2.
Ferguson can give you a couple. Fernandez could give you a couple. And then you see where you're at, and at that point, you might go with all of your leverage guys.
But the question then becomes, like, how long do those guys have to be down if they end up, if they go 25 pitches today, right? Like,
I think in an ideal world, they don't touch O'Brien, Stanek, Gastelum, or Soriano today. And you get the next 7 innings are from Graceffo, some combination of Graceffo, Ferguson, Fernandez, Brule. I think those are, and Winquest, who I have not mentioned yet. So in the next 7 innings, I think those 5 pitchers are the ones that you're going to see come into the game. By the way, Cardinals up 3-0 in the bottom of the second inning. T-Bone's lookalike hit a home run today. Blaze Jordan hit a 3-run
Do a smile,
home
T-Bone.
run.
Lift your head up and then just a little smile. Yep, just like that.
A little bit.
You looked like what you looked like at the opening of the show, though, when you ran out of the studio.
How about Blaze with a nice homer today for the Cardinals?
Let's put him on the bench and play Urias instead. Like, what we doing?
I'm fine with that.
No.
Honestly, I don't care either way. I just play Gorman.
What do you have to learn about Blaze?
Yeah, we know
More than Ramon.
Do you?
I think so.
Well, I agree with that. I don't need to see anything with Ramon. I'm fine with Blaze, but I also know what Blaze is. Blaze is a bench bat.
See, I don't know what
Do you
Blaze
think that
is.
Ramon can be a starting third baseman for the Cardinals next year?
No.
Do you think that Ramon...
Wait, Ramon or Blaze?
Ramon. Do you think that Ramon could be a guy that is here next year for $4 million?
They would tell you yes.
Yeah, I would say
What
they
would you
would.
think?
I would say no.
I would say no. I would say he's
Okay.
good as gone.
But you think that they are
I think
of
they
the belief that he
clearly
might be
believe
here?
that he's going to be here.
Then you do need to find out what he is.
I would
Like,
just,
it's worth finding out the rest of the way what he can do. I don't have any urgency to find out with Blaze because I could use the entire 2027 campaign to find out what Blaze Jordan is. He's not going anywhere. So for the rest of this season, he'll get his starts. It's not as though he's just going to sit on the bench and waste away. He's starting today for a reason. Every lefty that you see, that dude's probably going to be out there at third base because Ramon Urias can also kick over to second as he's doing today. So I think you're going to see a lot of Blaze Jordan the rest of the way. It's just not going to be every single day in the lineup. I'm fine with them operating this way.
I think I know everything I need to know about Blaze. I think I know everything I need to know about Ramon Urias.
See, I would still bet on some, and it's not significant upside, but I would still bet that Blaze can get better against right-handed pitching. And it'd be
I think
valuable for him to get at-bats during that, but they don't want to do that. Like, he's starting today because it's a lefty.
He'll get some at-bats.
I don't think it's going to be as much as it should be. Like, Urias, to me, you're not learning anything. I wouldn't put him on this roster next year, right? For $4 million bucks. Look, I get it. Again, I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at the message. Okay, kind of like you yelled at me earlier, and I understood that it was about the message from the Cardinals.
You guys both need to
Win
chill
Quest.
out, okay?
I would rather see someone that is still a unknown and still has more to prove and would gain actual value by playing every day compared to Ramon, who's been in the big leagues for whatever it is,
I guess
7+ years at this point.
I should clarify what I mean by this. Like, I'm not sure you're with Blaze Jordan. Alex, I think we're kind of on the same page with him. I think he's probably going to be put into a utility bat role for the Cardinals in 2027. I think that's probably how they view him. Right-handed bat, most likely off the bench, occasional starts against left-handed pitching at either first or third base. And if that's how you view him right now, there's no urgency to learn more because you can allow him to learn. You can allow yourself to learn more about him next year. You've still got that runway with him for hopefully 162 in 2027. He's not getting expensive. He's not running out of club control. Like, there's nothing here that's pressing the matter to where you have to make a decision in any way about him this offseason. You have to make a decision on Ramon Urias in about 6 weeks on what your plan is with him this offseason. Do you pick up that option? And you don't really know much about him right now, right? Like, you haven't seen a whole lot of Ramon Urias this season. And last time that we saw him, he was decent for the Cardinals, especially in a very specific role as a third baseman, good defensively against left-handed pitchers. They might want to bring that back next year because they have nobody else inside of their organization that can fill that role in their estimation. Now, maybe it's the JC. Maybe you think he could be that guy. We don't have a whole lot of proof about that at the major league level, though, so you might as well find out if Urias can be that for next year. And the way to do that is by playing him more often than not for the remainder of this season.
I would just argue I know where it's capped off with Urias. There's not a bunch of upside. If we're being honest, even if you didn't play
agree.
him and you said, you know what, do we want to pick up the $4 million option? Maybe. You could pick up it's $4 million bucks for a team with nothing on their books for next year. Literally nothing on the books for next year. That's nothing. And if you wanted to move on from him next year at $4 million bucks, that's fine. Like, I don't think there's anything that's pressing for 6 weeks.
But if you're doing this next year for $4 million, then you might as well start him right now because you're not going to pick it up and keep him for $4 million bucks if you're not going to start him at all next year.
I would also just argue, I could just, even if I don't,
and there
I
are
know
more starting opportunities now than there hopefully will be most of the time next year because Mason wins out. And so you've got second base as an option for him as well.
Yeah, and I'm okay with playing him at second. I would stick with Blaze at third, but
where's Gorman playing, though? The whole reason Gorman's up here is to play.
That's the tough part.
Gorman trumps all of these guys.
I get getting opportunities for because there is a real crunch on figuring out what he is. Have already determined the fate on Gorman. There's more ceiling on Gorman than there is for Urias.
Of course there is.
I would prefer to see Blaze continue to get opportunities. The decision for Urias
is about 2027. Let's find out. Let's find out what he is for you, what he can do, make the decision on him for 2027, and then you can move on. it's possible that this guy's not here next year. And if he's not, if he stinks the rest of the way, they probably just move on this offseason and say, decline the team option, and let's go ahead and find somebody different for that role. Maybe we go to Thomas Sajacy, because whatever, if he hits 150 the rest of the year, well, Sajacy can do that. And he can do it for cheaper, and he's younger, he's cost controlled, and we can send him up and down. I'm serious, though. Like, that's what you find out the rest of the way.
I think you need to stop pegging him as a Urias hater, and I think you need to stop pegging him as a Blaze hater.
I don't hate Blaze. I don't really love Blaze. And, like, I'm not super into Ramon Urias either, but the rest of the season, whatever.
You're more into Blaze than Urias.
I'm really not into either of them. I'm not into Gorman.
You're into McGreevy. We know that.
Oh, enough of this. The Rewind is next here on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. I can never unsee this now. Start from the 636. Guys, Blaze Jordan looks a little too much like Buzz Lightyear for me. And now I can't unsee that T-Bone also looks like Buzz Lightyear.
I don't see it at all.
I totally do.
It's amazing. And I can't believe that we've never made this comparison before. T-Bone needs to wear like the purple suit thing that goes over Buzz Lightyear's head.
Well, fun thing that you said that, Brandon, because he deserves to do a punishment still, and we're doing calendar. And
oh, my gosh,
the month of October might look great in a Buzz Lightyear costume.
Buzz Lightyear costume adult.
If you could grow out your hair, Tanner, like grow it out, and if it curl, does your hair get curly?
No.
I need T-Bone to do the eyebrow thing.
Buzz's hair's not long.
No, I'm looking at Blaze Jordan. I don't need your hair or anything. I'm going to put a little purple cap over you once we wear the Buzz Lightyear costume, and we're going to just go over there.
AI won't allow me to make T-Bone into Buzz Lightyear.
Disney's got it locked down on everything. Ask if AI can do it as a astronaut in a kid's show. That'll get you.
We'll see.
That'll get you.
But I really need this to be one of our punishments this year. I think we need to go more specific on, like, if T-Bone loses,
so like
these are the T-Bone
specifics?
punishments for the year.
I think that's good.
If Alex loses, these are the Alex punishments for the year. And if BK loses, these are the BK
Well,
punishments.
the hard part, though, is we have to come up with 6 for you.
How are we going to have him go grocery shopping?
Hey, I got to go every Monday, so you can send me then.
Damn, man. Didn't need that.
It's true, though.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun year.
You got to grow a little. You got to grow a little.
Oh, I can't.
Little hair right here.
By the way, Cardinals
We'll get a
did
pen
decide
and
to go
cover
to
it.
Gordon Graceffo. He got through the third inning.
She's still going down.
He has not allowed a hit.
Combined no
He
hitters
has
don't
not
matter
allowed a walk. The Cardinals are perfect
though.
through 3 innings.
You can't
today.
because you can't talk about that because you know it's going to be combined, and you told T-Bone that those don't matter.
How cool would it be if the
You
Cardinals go
can't.
combined perfect
We've been
game?
talking about how bad the
perfect
Bulls
game is
ruined
different.
it. No, what?
A no-hitter's one thing. A combined perfect
Stop it.
game.
Stop.
Just
Combined
stop.
perfect
No.
game, I can't imagine has happened very often.
That's dumb.
ChatGPT won't get this right, but out of curiosity, how many combined perfect games do you think
It
there have
doesn't matter. You've said that none of that matters if it's combined.
It's like 2 or 3.
There have been 0 combined perfect games in Major League Baseball history. 0.
Feels wrong.
Yeah, that's wrong.
That's what AI overview
yeah.
says.
Yeah. And the part that would be impressive about it is, like you said, they won't use any of their big
All
arms.
24 perfect games in MLB history were thrown by a single pitcher. So there you go.
Still, you can't argue it because you said those aren't cool.
A
It has to be a
combined
one
perfect
person
game has never happened.
Again, it doesn't matter. You said that it's not cool if it's
If you
combined.
see something that has never happened before in Major League Baseball history, that's cool.
If you see something that's only happened in 22 times in Major League Baseball history, I looked it up. There's 22 combined no hitters. That's still freaking cool. But you told him no.
Yeah.
That's cool, but that's less cool.
What? How many of those 22 combined no hitters were you in attendance for? 0.
Yeah. How many did you see?
true.
0.
Yeah.
Would you rather see a combined no-hitter or a cycle?
Combined no hitter.
Yeah.
I think
Cycles
so,
are
too.
more. I think there's been 3 cycles already this year in baseball.
I saw a cycle. I saw that Grizzolonic one.
Would you rather be in attendance for a 3-home-run game or a combined no-hitter?
Is it a 3-home run game for a rookie?
You'd rather be in attendance for a no-hitter, a combined no-hitter, where 4 different pitchers threw in that.
I think 3 home run games are more.
I still would rather do the no hitter.
Oh, I'd rather do
I think the no hitters.
game.
I think the no hitters cool.
3-home-run game's pretty damn cool.
I mean, for
Going
multiple
9
guys to be
innings with
on and
multiple
go no
pitchers.
hits,
Yeah, I'd go no hitter
Okay.
without question.
I disagree.
You're not a baseball guy. You don't know ball.
Oh, somebody on the text line.
I'm
put
getting a lot
together
of Bobby Hill pictures.
Bobby Hill, Buzz Lightyear pictures for T-Bone.
On the text line, where's it at?
The 314 has one. Dale in Grubville.
Dale in
He's got it.
Grubville.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, T-Bone. T-Bone, it's you, man.
What I've learned is that T-Bone just looks like a cartoon.
You do kind of, man. This was like when I used to make fun of Matt Rocchio when he was here because he looked
but,
like
I mean, he's Wreck-It Ralph.
Dude,
Come on, man.
He got
He
so
looks just
frustrated with me. That guy is Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
You're a Buzz Lightyear. Man, I could throw the best kids party for my kids to have Wreck-It Ralph and Buzz Lightyear show up. Think about that.
Felt kind of hurtful.
Did it?
Well, heck, I want to look at it.
They took your picture from the NHL draft and put the Buzz Lightyear cap on it. T-Bone, will you put your hands up and say Buzz Lightyear to the rescue?
That's not even his thing, is it?
To infinity and beyond,
that's
dude.
his
He
thing.
also says Buzz
Get
Lightyear.
it right.
Oh my God. Oh, that's so good.
Man, I can't wait. I hope everybody can't wait for the T-Bone calendars because, boy, they're going to come out in the month of December.
Gator says
What?
T-Bone kind of looks like a boiled egg.
That's hurtful.
just mean.
That's hurt. Why
That's
would-
just
that doesn't
mean.
really make any sense. That doesn't really make any sense. He's not bald.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not going to get on that one. That was too much. Somebody asked how many gummies you had today, BK.
Sadly, none.
The Buzz Lightyear one, though, was great.
Oh, that was good. Okay. Cardinals up 3-0 through 2.5 innings, or in the bottom of the third right now. 1 out for them. Alex, if they win this game, it's one of the more surprising wins of the year, right? Given where they're at pitching-wise?
Yeah, given what the last 2 days have been. Also might tell you a little about the other pitchers that you're going to see, that none of your big arms, including Michael McGreevy, could get the game done for you, but instead you get a combined perfect outing for Gordon Graceffo and Cade Winquest with Justin Brule. Yeah, that'd be a little concerning of how the first 2 games went against the Baltimore Orioles.
It would be another one of those, like, so much of the last week is what could have been. Because you go back to that series against Cincinnati, you could have won all 5 of those games. You probably should have won at least 4 of those games. And then you go back to the series in Philadelphia. You could have and probably should have won 2 out of 3. And now you look back at yesterday's game, you could have won that one. I don't know that you should have won that because that was a come from behind just to tie it. But you could have won that game and you found a way to lose. Man, I just mentioned 5 different games over the last, 8 days that you at least could have won, and probably 6 of those-ish, somewhere around there, you should have won. I mean, it's a tough week. And then if you're able to win it today, man.
That's a brutal.
You go from basically putting yourself out of the wild card race to you could have been, at a tie for a wild card spot.
Yeah, it's brutal. Not to sidetrack here, but you know what also is brutal? When your goaltender goes public saying, trade me. Connor Hellebuck's agent just put out an official statement that said, Winnipeg is my home, but several months ago I privately requested a trade. I've tried to handle the situation quietly and respectfully while giving the organization time to explore its options. With training camp approaching, I felt it was important to publicly confirm my request. My position has not changed, and I believe moving on is the best path forward for me and my family.
Cool. Eat it. That would be my response. You're in year 3 of a 7-year contract at $8.5 million per year. If you don't want to play, cool. You don't make your $8.5 million. That's your choice. That would be my stance if I was Winnipeg.
I'm with you.
I would maybe talk to the PR team.
You want to try a little bit different with cool, eat
Tony.
it.
Yeah.
I'm with you, but he's your identity. Yeah, you kind of have to say eat it, but what does that public statement say to the entire roster? He gone.
It's not good.
He gone.
It's not
and
good.
Winnipeg's going to be awful.
If you trade him, I don't want to be overly dramatic, but you might as well fold the franchise.
Jesus, man.
What else do you like? You've got 3 other players that are worth a damn on the team.
Well, you trade him. My guess is one
Bring
of
in a 4th.
Connor or Scheifele request out,
and
as well as Josh
done.
Morrissey. And your team's. He's not wrong. Fold the franchise. Send him to Phoenix.
No, but seriously, at that point, you're probably not going to be in Winnipeg much longer.
Yeah. Wow, you're already kind of iffy in Winnipeg in terms of people that come out there. So, yeah, you lose the identity of your roster.
If I'm their GM, I say eat it.
Yeah.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. If you guys missed anything from today's show, it's been a weird
doozy.
one. YouTube.com/101 ESPN STL. You can also check us out on the 101 ESPN app. That's free to use, easy to download. It's sponsored by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers and at 101ESPN.com. Those podcasts are sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
We'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Try to do better than the Fast Lanes next year on 101 ESPN.
To infinity and beyond.